What's up, everyone? Welcome to Naked. I am Nicole.
Keisha.
And Deanna.
And this is Naked.
Hello.
It's been a minute.
Oh, MG.
Yeah. We have definitely been off for the start of 2019. But we are getting back to it. So, what's up with you guys? What you guys been up to? I feel like we haven't met in so long. We kind of need to recap and catch up with each other.
Yeah. I've been enjoying the unemployed life. It's been a great vacation.
But
However, it is coming to an end.
Ow, toast.
Yes, new job.
That
Ew.
means we can start traveling
Yes.
again.
Oh my God, I won't be poor anymore.
Get back to our traveling.
Congratulations.
I totally felt like old girl from Bridesmaid when she's on the flight and she's like, "Help me, I'm poor." Every time somebody asked me if I wanted to do anything, I was like, "Well, how much money is that going to cost?
Right.
How far from my house is
You
it?"
lying. She'd be like, no, because I'm poor.
I mean,
That was her response. You
Well,
want to go? No, because I'm poor.
Yeah. But if somebody told me like booze or something was involved, then I'd ask questions like, "How far is it from the house? How much money?"
It's called balance.
When you say
There you go. There
you
you
say
go.
it's a cheap happy hour, like how cheap?
How
is
cheap?
it?
How
Oh,
cheap? Yes. Yeah.
yes.
Like, I mean, a girl still got to have a little bit of fun.
I get
Every
it.
But now, so I start the new gig in a week. It'll be a week from Monday. It's with a huge company here in Central Ohio.
Yes.
It's like the perfect job. It like checks off all the boxes on my
Yes.
little to-do list. So I kind of feel like I hit the lottery, won the Hunger Games. I don't know. Like I kind of,
She called me and told me that time. I feel like I won Hunger Games. I said, shut
you
Shut
know,
Hunger
I'm.
Games.
up and get off my phone
I mean,
right
listen,
now.
because
Hunger Games.
first off the interview.
She said, I feel like I had to make
Right.
an offering, and you know what? I finally won. I was like, get off my phone. Get off my
The
phone.
interview process took forever. I started interviewing for this job at the end of December. Okay.
Jeez. Literally.
I was on site interviewing. I think I met with like 13 people over the course
That
of
is
like
so
9
exhausting.
hours. I pretty much like spent a full day at work interviewing for this job.
She
And
got caught in like one of their transition periods. Like, we're interviewing you for this. Oh, wait, we're restructuring and changing
Yeah,
some things
right.
around. Like
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
deal.
So I mean, it worked out. I'm super excited.
Timing is
I'm
everything.
pumped. Exactly.
I think it's
Exactly. And I still feel like if I hadn't been laid off from my old job, that like I would have never
Yep.
taken like the jump to like
Yeah.
go and find something
Yeah.
else. I had just gotten really complacent. So I'm super excited. It's springtime. It's new
Congrats.
beginnings.
Yes.
Like it's a new
warmer.
year, new job,
Yes.
and I won't be poor anymore. So.
She called like, when I get my first check, we're gonna go out and celebrate. I'm like,
Absolutely.
stop playing.
Right.
We gonna go celebrate before.
Right. No, I text her and TJ because TJ like knows somebody
Yes.
who like helped me get like my resume in the right hands. I was like, dude, bourbon on me. Got you.
Yes.
Yep. So, but yeah, what's going on with y'all? What are y'all up to?
Work is finally easing up a little bit. We've been super busy, but it's finally clearing up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball's over. I'm trying to
Where did
stay
you guys
away.
finish?
As far as rankings?
Yeah.
Oh, let's not even talk about it. We did make it to the third round of playoffs, though.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's real good.
Yes.
We were in the district semifinal. That's where we
Okay.
made it to.
Girls was kicking butt.
Yeah, I mean, first year it was a great season. I have no complaints.
Ready to get started for next season?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've been getting probed for AAU, and I'm trying not to get pulled in. But
AAU is serious.
That's serious.
Them kids always be somewhere doing something.
Yes.
I
Yes.
know.
Yeah. And it's not like it's just here. You
No.
travel like
Everywhere.
Chicago. Like,
Yeah.
matter of fact, if we do the taste, there is a tournament there. I will be working
Wow.
and yeah, we'll talk about that off camera. So,
What? I'm sorry.
it's a huge one. It's
It's our vacation.
It's a huge night.
It's our vacation. I'm not poor anymore.
I am not going to spend my entire time, but I can't be there and not go check the girls out. I have to check them out. And I have to give the parents forewarning, like, say y'all see me in the gym. When you see me in the street, though, don't be shocked. I'm letting you know now.
Yes.
Booty cheeks will probably be
Oh my
exposed.
god. What's wrong with her?
Titties will be
Not
nice
the-
and prompt.
What's
Not
wrong
the
with
same
her?
person.
Yeah.
Not the
They're
same
gonna be like,
person.
is that Coach Miller? Why, yes, it is. I do both.
I'm like, I'm not Coach Miller
I'm not
tonight.
Coach Miller
I'm
right now.
Nicolay.
I'm Nick Nice. Snick Nick
Nicolay.
Nice. But no,
Nicolay.
we full blown into track season with Ishmael. Cheer just ended, so you know I'm starting to really realize, like, when I say like, oh, we're done with this, it really doesn't matter because something else picks
Yeah.
up. So
Which is why I thought it was funny when you were like, oh, you know, the summer's rolling, it'll be fine. I'll have a lot of time. No, you're not.
kinda, and I'll have more time than normal. I'm serious. I'm
She'll
serious.
have an hour more than she had.
Maybe that's a lot of time today.
She
What
had
you been doing,
in
Alex? So yeah, I mean that's basically it. Still, you know, doing some writing and took your advice on what we talked about. And I was like, I'm feeling real frustrated. Like I don't have the time to put in it that I want.
Good deal.
But using your advice, taking a little bit of time, I was already designating to something
Yep.
else that I'm not doing. Using that time to do it, so that's been helpful.
Good. Good.
But that's really about it. So I'm just gearing up my travel while I have some open time. Because one thing basketball season did teach me is I ain't got time for shit. And that was a long time from like August to March.
yeah.
That's a long time to not have
Long
time to do. So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? In this off season, I'm definitely going to take advantage.
Mhm.
So a couple
like
trips.
in July when we
Yes.
in Chicago.
I'm going to do both.
Mm.
Who says you can't have it all, girl? High five! We can have it all. We can have it all. So yeah. So you know, now I'm just gearing up my travel plans for the summer, and
Good deal.
so with you.
So, I started my business.
And tell me, I know you went over here agreeing with her about somebody being busy. I don't want to hear it.
Oh yeah, no.
From
I
you.
am.
That is a
Yeah.
true statement.
I am busy. Busy I am. Yes. I am. Started my own business.
Round of applause. Round of applause.
Thank you. It's doing it's slow, but it's doing well. I'm very, very, very excited for it. So what I was gonna tell you guys was the funny thing. So I went to Staples to go get my stuff printed, you know, promotional stuff. Met the most interesting little lady, and she was like, "Oh, you're gonna be a Bexley?" And she's just like, I mean, she was just like the most energetic person. Like she was talking to her boss, and she was like, "Boss, you're gonna have to fire me again." And I was like,
Fire me again. You know what I mean? I thought of Tiffany Haddish in Girls Trip when he was like, "No, you're fired." She was like, "Oh, you so understanding.
Yes.
I'll see you on Monday. That's why I like you."
but I mean, she was just like this, and she's like, she's talking to the computer, and she's like, "Come on, computer, because Keisha's gotta go." And I was like,
Oh, she was high, girl.
something.
She was on that good.
I'm over here like, I like her. She sounds like a good
Yeah.
time,
She
yeah.
was quite interesting, but I did start a business. I'm very excited. Also, my current job offered me a lead position,
Hey.
so
You should have started with that shit.
Okay.
I didn't hear about this earlier.
I started.
why-
I started a business.
I know that's right. Invest in yourself, honey.
I'm talking
There
about
you
when
go.
you came in the door.
Oh yeah,
Not on here. I'm talking about when you came in the door. Why you can't say that?
because they.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah. But yeah.
Well,
And we didn't even
congratulations.
go out and celebrate.
Congratulations.
I mean, I haven't it hasn't been like put in stone and things haven't, but
Yeah. But we haven't celebrated anything. That or the new business. So
but my birthday, which you won't be there. Your
we
birthday is
cruising the islands.
What are the exact days?
We leave on the 2nd, come back on the 5th.
She will be exact totally gone.
Right? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, we'll figure it out. But yeah, that's what's been coming. And I've been super excited, busy, just trying to, get business going.
Yeah.
So that, I don't have to dig in my pocket
Mm-hmm.
to fund. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, super excited.
Congratulations, boo.
Yeah,
Over here looking like a boss. Like, you just giving me all types of boss vibes and
Like a
stuff.
boss
Like,
vibe.
black girl magic. Like, you better. Ugh.
Trying to
Yes.
network and everything. So,
Yeah.
yes.
I hear you.
Everybody needs a pump up friend like this. Like you
Yes.
know, just like, to be hyping you up and you be like, bitch, I am doing that. I
did.
My hair is flourishing. I didn't even know until you
Okay.
said it.
No split ends.
My hair is like a real boss. Like, look at my fingernail beds. Boss. Boss.
No split cuticles over here.
Knuckles ain't ashy today. I'm killing it.
Killing the game. Killing the game.
I mean, we winning out here.
Y'all
We winning out here. Ain't nobody else will pump us up. We got to pump ourselves
You
up.
right. You got
Okay.
that right.
I'm
You
just
got that
saying.
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Round of
yeah.
applause. Round of applause.
Hey,
But
girl.
the other thing I've been doing in my downtime
Mm-hmm.
is my listening to my podcast.
Oh.
So we're on a podcast. I listen to other podcasts, but my thing is I love killing.
Wait, what?
Let's rephrase that.
Okay,
But
I don't kill
You gonna send the fans for you, girl. Wait a minute.
because I don't want to go to jail. I can't be no bad woman's girlfriend. I can't. I can't. But I like to hear about other murders.
Said no bad.
Yes, you did. She said, it ain't in my
But it's
spirit.
interesting. It's yes.
You already got a girlfriend. Remember that one you worked with? That's you better not go cheat. She gonna fuck you up. You better not cheat on her. Yeah. Keep playing around. Keep playing around.
I hate y'all.
So being at work, you talk to so many people. I'm like, oh yeah, listen to podcasts, and they're like, they give suggestions like, you gotta listen to Serial. You gotta
Yeah.
listen to Serial. So I started listening to Serial, and I'm just like, this can't be what they told me I have to listen to.
Wait, which serial
The-
did you listen
the
to?
second-
I started with the first season,
Adnan.
but the way her voice was, I was like, this can't be it. And so someone was like, you have to listen to In the Dark. So I was like, okay, listen to the first season of In the Dark,
Mm-hmm.
which is about a boy who disappeared. It took them 27 years to
I
solve.
don't know this one.
Yeah.
I feel like I started it
This
and
was
then
in Wisconsin.
I feel like I started it, but I never finished it.
Wisconsin or Minnesota. Let me fact check myself.
Yeah.
But
No, serial. I listen to all of them, but not In the Dark.
In
I
the
couldn't
Dark
get
is
into
really
the
good.
second serial.
Yeah, and I've heard that. I've definitely
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
that.
the military
A lot of
guy.
people-
It's so okay. So what I'll say about Serial is going from season 1 with Adnan and then going to that was a little difficult.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get more details around that story because in the news, they're only going to share so much about what's going on with him. So I kept listening to get more of the details. And by the end of it, I was just as confused as when I started. So
The thing with Adnan, because even with the new HBO special that they're doing with his
which
stuff,
I can't wait to watch that.
so I watched the first episode and I was just like, I'm bored. It just
Because I've heard about it before.
it recaps everything that
okay.
you already
Yeah.
know. It's not new information.
It's really just putting a face to the voices that you heard in the story or voices that you heard on the podcast.
Okay.
But that original serial about Adnan would have me after every episode wondering damn, I wonder what Adnan doing. I wonder how he doing.
For real.
I was damn near ready
We
to
was
send him
Google-
some whites and put
We
some
was
money on his book.
Googling shit. Me and people Googling them, looking up stuff, doing extra research after listening to it.
That's what happens with these podcasts. So the first one, he was in Minnesota. I'm sorry, I said Wisconsin. He was kidnapped.
This is In the Dark.
This is In the Dark. It took them 27 years to actually, but while I was listening to it, because it had already, by the time I started listening to it, that season was already done.
Mm-hmm.
They had solved it.
Mm-hmm.
So listening to Adnan's, it was like, well, she didn't solve it. They still trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
So that's
Still
where I
going,
felt like, oh, I don't know. So then I started listening to season 2 of In the Dark, which is actually still happening right now. It's at the Supreme Court, where there was a black man in Mississippi who was accused of killing 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
And
how long ago?
this was 21 years, I think.
Okay.
So this is still going on as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, 21 years later.
Yes, his mom died. They wouldn't let him go to the funeral, and it's basically the DA kept trying this case
Yeah.
6 times.
They
So the
really
first-
wanted his ass.
The first 2 times he was found guilty, he would go for an appeal. He'd win the appeal, and then the DA would just keep trying it. And it's not double jeopardy. They explained it in the podcast, but that one was just it got me. I
Yeah.
was so invested. I'm like, I got to go visit this man, and what she discovers in this podcast is how did the cops not find all this information?
Mm-hmm.
So then I did go back and listen to the Adnan one, and I was just like, I'm just not invested as much as I am was in the dark.
Listen, they had me all into that stuff.
Oh,
I mean-
from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my thoughts about that one. And then I started listening to Up and Vanished.
And what's
which
that
I'm
one about?
currently listening to. So that one is about a teacher named Tara Grinstead,
Mhm.
where she Up and Vanished.
I did.
So did
I
you
did listen to this one because she was like good looking, right? Like
Yeah,
beauty
she was a beauty
pageant.
queen.
Yeah.
She was a beauty pageant. She was a beauty pageant where she was a school teacher, and same thing.
Weird.
They find out who killed her
Mm.
in the middle of the season, and that's still going on now. They're still trying that. So I'm in the middle of listening to that one, but his like investigative, I think it's the investigative reporting and how they could just like go into these towns, these closed off towns, and like open up, get these people to open up and talk to them.
It's
That
a
I
gift.
just think is
It's a
amazing.
gift, yeah.
It's amazing to me. So that's what I thought was so interesting. Like with the Adnan thing, I don't feel like, and she's actually a reporter. Like I just felt like her reporting just wasn't as
Sarah Koenig, you mean?
Yeah.
Or okay.
but I didn't listen to season 2, and because I'm still trying to, I gotta watch the HBO thing.
Yeah.
So.
Season you talking about Serial? Season 2 of Serial it's nowhere on the level of the
Oh,
season 1.
so I've heard.
But again, I just listened to it because I wanted more details than what you get on the news
Got it.
of like what is really going on. Because the
Got it.
news, like when I heard it, like I said, I heard it was like that shit don't make sense. Yeah,
Right.
so I listened to that hoping to get more detail, which they give you more detail, but even by the end of that, you're still like, that doesn't make any sense. Like
Exactly.
none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And then have you listened to season 3? of
season
Serial?
3 is the follow-up of Adnan, right? Like when they
No,
go
No,
back.
season
that
3
is-
is the story up in Cleveland.
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
I
yes,
started
yes,
that
yes.
one. I started
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so did they like pause it for a second? Like what happened? Because I remember listening to it and then it kind of like fell out. Like they didn't upload anything for a while.
I don't know.
Because
I'm
I
only
mean-
on like episode 3, I think 3 or 4 is
Yeah.
where I left off, and I don't.
I think you left off because they paused for like a long ass time.
Let's see.
Oh,
So
okay.
Yeah, see if they uploaded anymore. So I do remember hearing about that one because they were talking about that whole city of Cleveland. They had a lot of cases where it's just like,
Yeah, and the judge was like hella reckless.
Yeah.
Like was like completely disrespectful
Yeah.
to everything that he said and the way he processed like all of the cases. It's crazy how people in power can be so like one-sided. You would
Yeah.
think that in order to be in a position of power like that you would have to be extremely neutral.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that like a lot of people probably start out somewhat neutral and just get tainted by like some of the things that they encounter. I think that's probably natural. But that man, I'm just thoroughly confused about how he's
Yeah.
even able to still like have a seat on the bench.
Me too.
I haven't finished it, so I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if he's still on the bench.
like even his comments, just simple
His comments were
that
out
he
of
would make
pocket.
in court. You'd be like,
Out of pocket.
wow,
Like you can't say that to
you can't
people.
say that.
Yeah, you're a judge. What in the world?
But that's who people voted into.
True story.
So, which kind of
But
goes
like-
into what you were about to talk about.
But all of the judges up in that Cleveland court district or whatever, they were all like they all had like Irish names. So it led you to believe that they were all like white men.
Mhm.
Like all
Yeah.
of them had like O'Shaughnessy,
Mhm.
whatever. Like all of them had like very similar names. So it was just like, I see what's going on up and through here.
Right.
You know,
You gotta
And you know,
choose
at that
who
level,
you
like
pick.
while we do vote, there's also some pool that's
yeah.
done.
Yeah,
You know
and
what
it's
I
a
mean?
boys
Like,
club, like
yeah.
the good old boys. And
Absolutely.
we'll get in here who benefits us being
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
here.
Like
Yeah.
y'all do have a vote, but we have the final vote.
Right.
That's sad.
My favorite podcast, of course, is the Joe Budden podcast. I don't know why I like it so much.
You said the Joe Budden one?
Mm-hmm. You don't listen to Joe Budden?
Not really.
Yeah, not really.
I'm faithful to it. Like wait on it
Really.
twice a week.
I hear it's really good, but I don't know. I love hearing the investigative reporting. Like that.
I still like those too.
Yeah.
Me.
Um,
and then it's like I can't.
What's the one I told you I was listening to the other day?
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
can
these stories is wild.
But you said it wasn't murder.
Criminal.
case.
Was
They
it
weren't-
criminal? No, somebody else told me about criminal.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
was-
criminal. That's
It started with an S. It was something and something. Sword and Scale.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Sword
Yeah.
and Scale has some
So
crazy
tell us about that.
stories.
That one's on my list.
Well, they talk about one of the, or two of the episodes. It's a two-parter. Talks about this kid disappears, and apparently ends up being found later, but apparently there was this child, I don't want to say it, well, kind of, yeah, like abduction ring for sex.
Mm-hmm.
It was politicians that were doing it.
Oh.
Supposedly, this ties back to even George Bush
Ooh.
Senior.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let me go and add that one.
Yeah,
I
the
got,
actual
a long, I got
scale.
a long trip to
Then,
take.
so they talk about that. So it was a main guy that was supposed to have been involved. He was like a well-known banker in the area or something. Something to do with banking. I don't know if he owned the bank or he was just a well-known banker. But so apparently these big high-power people were paying him. They would go snatch these little boys like off the streets, and then as they grew up, they just became like prostitutes. Like these kids would all gather at these parties, and they knew what they were coming there to do. So there's a two-parter of that, and then that story ties into. It sounds like a military camp, kind of. I think that's what the families thought they were sending their sons into, but they were getting beat ridiculously. Like the one guy describes it, and the reporter says that he's gotten the same storyline from other people. Like they take him into this like dungeon room. It's a bed on there. The bed is full of piss, shit, and puke because they beat these kids so bad that they piss, shit, and puke on themselves. And they tell them to bite the pillow that's full of piss, shit, and puke. And he said that they beat him so bad, like, when he did go to, like, finally getting in the shower, like, his underwear were stuck to his butt because had been bleeding. He had open wounds, and it was, like, stuck. Like, he had to let the water hit it to wet it.
Okay,
To pull it off and pull it off. Yeah.
I know that hurt.
Yeah. It's some crazy stories that you're just like, there's no way that happened.
Yeah.
But these are like hidden military places where this stuff is happening. And like the government is aware of it. Like he said, at one of the stories, it was some kind of dungeon that was part of the White House. Yeah.
That's crazy. One of my favorite podcasts was called Finding Cleo.
I liked that one.
So Finding Cleo, basically like in the 60s in Canada, there was a large initiative that was pushed where social workers would go to Native American like ranches and reservations, and they would pluck these kids out of their homes. They would redistribute them in American homes. And this was so much of a well-known project that they were running, is that there were like commercials for it.
Yeah.
Where you would see like kids' faces and it's like, are you ready for a new child? Then this could be your new life. And it would take these kids out of ththese reservations and place them elsewhere. So this story in particular follows Cleo, who was placed in a new home. One of her siblings is like trying to track her down. Like, where is she? Whatever happened to my sister? We've been trying to find her. We have no idea where she's at. So it follows how she was placed in a home, how she hitchhiked from that place, ended up in a whole new city, and it like follows them up until the point that they finally figure out like what ultimately happened to her. And it was the most heartbreaking thing because like not only did it have like a terrible ending for her, but like the fact that this was like a government initiated and sponsored like project, and it had been going on for ages. Yeah. Ages. Like this, like
who are the people that sign off for this stuff?
Listen,
Your government.
People are crazy when you think about all of the different like tests and experiments and shit that used to go on. The fact that they felt it was okay to like pull that shit off and do it, like you gotta be a sick ass individual to be like, oh, let's try this out.
Yeah,
let's try this out.
See how it works.
And then with all of the folks, I forgot what the name of like the project was. It was like something 60s or something like that. But it became such of an issue that they ended up giving all of them like reparations.
Yeah.
But they only got like $10,000.
Yeah, it wasn't shit.
I'm like, what is that?
It wasn't shit.
What is that? You've completely ruined these folks' lives. You've uprooted them. You've relocated them. You've made them strangers. She didn't fit in where she was.
I mean, they put them with like the whitest of white families, and they come from reservation life to this white American life.
They don't fit in.
So
you
they
have
were
no
like they were actually kidnapping them, or they were going into homes.
They were
and
finding
saying,
excuses to say
Yeah.
this is unbearable living for these children.
There's
We're
too many.
taking them.
There's too many children in this household, so we're gonna
We're
take
taking some.
some. We're gonna take some. You guys have. There's 10 kids here.
Yeah, so they weren't
It's-
like kidnapping them. It wasn't like parents like this.
Right,
Everyone
right,
was like, where are my kids? No, they were going in
It
the home
was.
saying
It
like,
was social
okay,
workers.
we're gonna take
Right.
3
Yeah.
kids.
Okay,
You 3
you said that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
it was social workers. Like they would come in. There's too many people in this home. You can't provide for all of them, so we're gonna take 3 of them, and we're gonna give them to these white families over in the United States. And they ran commercials for it. It was advertised.
That is insane.
It's
Like on the podcast, they play one of the commercials. Like they let
If
you
you-
hear it.
it's crazy. You know how one of the things I love about a lot of podcasts is like how you can go and look at like supplemental like documents and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the supplemental documents showed like her ad that like ran on like a newspaper. or
Yeah, the
something.
newspaper ad.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
That story was crazy.
Which makes you think. Have y'all seen Us?
Yeah.
Which makes you think that, like that
Hands
can.
Across America.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff could happen. I don't know how. That
It definitely
But-
could happen.
Yeah.
it's just crazy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this world that we live in. Insane.
Right.
So speaking of insanity in this
Yes.
world and our government,
Yes.
so this week, Ohio has become one of maybe 6 or 10 states
6.
that passed the heartbeat bill.
Are you disappointed? Yeah.
It's crazy. It
Are you disappointed?
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed.
Yeah, I am not a fan whatsoever. I thought it would be like a great topic to really just kind of talk through. I know a bunch of people that are like on both spectrums of kind of where they stand. I think that there's still a lot of legalities. There's going to be a lot of folks that are going to continue to fight this. Iowa and Kentucky passed the law, and then it was fought, and it wasn't passed once they fought it. So we're not completely over, the hill with it. It's not officially like locked and loaded like at this point, but I think that that's the direction that we're going in.
There's definitely a big push for it to be so.
Well, I mean,
Ohio said they're going to fight.
yeah, I mean,
They're going to fight.
So here's my issue. So I personally would never. I don't want to say never. I mean, anything could happen, which is part of the issue why I think that it needs to still be on the books. But I personally don't see myself ever getting an abortion, right? But I think that it needs to still be an option for a few different reasons. Like if I put myself in the mindset of if somebody were raped and became pregnant, and the fact that this heartbeat bill is really only it's you can basically you can detect a baby's heartbeat at 6 weeks. That I feel like that's too early for a lot of people to even know that they're even fucking pregnant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You barely have skipped a period at that point.
And I'm just like, so
If you skipped a period.
you're forcing people to find alternative measures to handle something that they're going to continue to do. It's taking us back instead of moving us forward. Like I've heard horror stories from back in the day, like from when our parents were our age and younger, in terms of how abortions were handled.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't accepted then, but it was still happening. People was using coat hangers. They was going wherever they needed to go. I feel like this is going to force people to do things that is just going to lead to additional issues.
And
And
go to them back alley basement
fucking
abortions. That's
heartbreaking.
exactly what's
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Or people mixing dangerous drugs, trying to do it themselves at home.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Like you said, it's not going to stop anything.
No.
It's not going to stop it. It's going to find another way to go about it, and it's going to be a dangerous way.
Yeah. I do think that a lot of people tend to use abortions as birth control.
Yes.
Thank you. That's
I absolutely get that. And I think that like I said, like I personally, I can't see myself ever getting an abortion. Like at this age, like even if it were like a unplanned pregnancy, I'm a grown ass woman. Like handle your stuff like
Traffic home.
gross.
I'm just giving you a scenario.
But see, even with that though, like like at this age, like if I got pregnant by somebody who I just want nothing to do with, I'd be like, "What, baby? Who pregnant? I'm just fat.
It's
like,
not yours.
It's not
It's
yours.
not yours.
Listen, I would cut like you can't have it. It's mine.
Yeah.
And
You can't have this.
like I don't know what to tell you. But if I were to get like assaulted, like sexually assaulted, like I
I
don't
would want that option. I would
I
want
would
that
want that.
option
I
if
would,
I
I
were
would want
raped.
that. Like I would feel some type of way if I were being forced to give birth to a baby that I was like raped and that's how the baby was conceived. Like that just seems like it's a very traumatic experience. Because now you're forcing this person to spend 9 months like taking care of this fetus and nurturing this fetus.
And pregnancy is such a different time, not just because your body changes, but just like your life changes. It doesn't start when you deliver a baby. Like the moment you find out you're pregnant, shit just changes. And while that's supposed to be like a beautiful moment, if I had to go through that knowing that this was produced because I was raped,
You're angry. You're upset.
I'm
sad,
angry. I can't control it.
Yeah.
What if I'm drinking, I'm smoking because I don't give a fuck because I don't even want this baby, but I'm being forced to have it. Now I'm giving the baby disabilities or health risk or whatever because I didn't give a fuck because you guys are forcing me because I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But besides that, like spiritually what that would do to you, just to be like, this is supposed to be like, you know, a gift from God and this is supposed to be a blessing and a happy time, but I'm fucking miserable because I was raped and that's how this came about.
Mm-hmm.
Like to be in a place that you're supposed to be in the most vulnerable and loving and all that and not be able to experience that, but still have to go through it.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine what that would do to you mentally and spiritually. I can't imagine.
On top of that, I feel like it's going to drastically increase the amount of people that are on public assistance because realistically, the people who are utilizing, let me not generalize everybody. A lot of the people who are utilizing abortions as a method of contraception are those who are not educated enough, financially stable enough to be able to go and have proper insurance, to be able to get on birth control, don't have enough common sense to use a condom or, you know, whatever. So I do think that there's a specific demographic that is going to drastically be impacted because they're not able to abort pregnancies. That will then be birthing additional children that will continue to be taken care of through public assistance.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, public assistance is geared, I mean, they claim that public assistance is geared to get people back to work. That is not the case. That shit is a trap. It is absolutely a trap. In order for you to be able to get off of it, you know, if you make a certain amount, then you're stuck paying for everything on your own. They don't wean you off of it.
But even the amounts, like there's such a fine line between you're eligible and you're not.
Oh, absolutely.
But just on the other side of that line is, while I make too much to receive it, I don't make enough to live. I can't live off of that.
I can speak to that personally. On unemployment, I made too much money in order to qualify for any benefits.
Now that's crazy.
On unemployment.
My unemployment.
Now if she would have had a baby, she'd have been fine.
If I'd have had a kid, I'd have been cool.
But
I'd
you
been
had
able
a
to get food
baby.
stamps and all of that.
You had a baby to that income, and I still can't afford it. I still can't afford life, basic necessities.
Exactly. And they don't look at it after they take the taxes
Yeah.
out. It's before taxes.
Point me in a direction where there is affordable health care for somebody who is receiving unemployment. I'd be willing to spend $100 a month on unemployment for a decent health care plan.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
Yeah.
If you're telling me that I make too much for Medicaid because of my allowance that you were giving me after I've been paying into this for umpteenth years.
Right.
And mind you, this is temporary.
This is temporary.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how dare you say that I don't qualify? And that's why I say it's a trap. Like, and that's a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm.
But back to like the original, like back to what we were discussing, it's going to drastically impact the folks that are on public assistance. Now, I have my own ideas in terms of how they can force folks on or not unemployment, on benefits to not continue to have kids. As far as I'm concerned, you got to bring your ass into this office once a month and get this birth control
It's just
shot.
birth control.
And if you ain't doing that, then we're gonna cut these services. You can't get no more food stamps, you can't get no more Title 20. Like, you clearly need help with the ones you got, so you can't have any more.
Yeah.
Until you get your shit together,
Right.
or we stop paying you.
Yeah.
Like, that's my thing. But as far as just being able to take abortion off the table, I'm concerned about what the repercussions are going to
Yeah.
be.
Mhm.
But I'd love to hear like your thoughts. Like I said, I know a bunch of people that are like on both spectrums, so I love hearing like how other people are like viewing at it.
So I think it's murder. Point blank, period. I think it's murder. I get everything you're saying. I agree with everything you're saying. I'm not saying my sins are greater or anything like that. At the end of the day, it's still murder. Like, and there's just no way around it. Like, I get it, rape, incest. It's still murder. I mean,
Because the baby has a heartbeat, so it's a person. Like, it's
murder.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. So when you
And I go back to what you were saying with they need to bring them in, you need to get birth control.
yeah, girl,
It needs to start with education.
absolutely.
Like we always want to, okay, well this is wrong, so let's do this. It's like, no, let's go back to how it originally started. Like we took sex education out
But
of
who
school.
doesn't know if I'm fucking
Like-
I can get pregnant? Who doesn't
Yeah,
know
they're
that?
just-
Who's
people are
out
just
here fucking
responding.
and
We do
don't
know that,
like,
but we're not teaching the core values that need to be taught. Like you need to love yourself. Stop opening your legs. And of course, it's still going to happen.
you can
I-
teach that
there's
all
no
day, it's
repercussions.
still gonna be
There's no
somebody that's like,
There's no
There's no
repercussions.
repercussions.
That's people learn because you're taught if you touch the stove, you're gonna get
Yes.
burned.
yeah.
And you
If-
touch it anyway. And,
and
then
you
burn
touch
it,
it,
it's
you-
like, oh shit.
And
oh,
don't
oh,
touch
it
the
is.
don't touch the stove.
It is.
You know, like we learn because there are consequences
Yes.
for your actions.
Yes.
If you're able to go out and have multiple kids, get paid
Somebody's
for
gonna
it,
give you a check. Yeah, and get paid for it.
get
basically.
paid for it, because the more kids you have, the more food stamps you get, the more money you gonna get, the more Title 20 you gonna get.
You get medical,
Mm-hmm.
you get free medical,
Like
free housing.
once
Yeah.
you get to a certain point, like as far as I'm concerned, 3 kids and 7 kids is probably like the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
cause it costs too much for you to put all these kids in daycare.
Yeah.
Like 1 kid in daycare, that shit costs too much.
Girl,
I am
Daycare is ridiculous.
I am
now.
terrified. Like, how the hell am I supposed? Like, when I tell y'all, my mom's gonna have to like step up. Like, she's gonna have to.
You might as
Like,
well just move her in.
we're not gonna go that far, but like,
Please. Why? This is why, mark my words. What's today? Write this date and time down. She's gonna be like, so
April 13th.
I want on to move Molly in with me. Because you're not gonna want to be away from your baby like that. You gonna want stuff done a certain way.
which is why my mom's not gonna be able to live in my house because I want stuff done a certain way. We
That's
was
exactly why you have to bring
we-
her to your house, because then you can place the rules. If you send
Girl, have you
Her mom?
little
Thank
baby,
you.
I ain't even met her mom, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Mama does not disrespect the house though.
Living there and visiting are two different things.
Mama don't disrespect the
my
house.
mom doesn't smoke in my house. That's about the only thing that she doesn't disrespect in my house.
But
My
I'm
house is
telling
my
you.
mom's house. What she says goes. I just pay the bills there and I just nod my head when I'm in her
She
presence.
say that now. Wait till that get real. Wait till that baby life get real. You gonna be like, so mama, get your suitcase.
Nah, I'm gonna be like, Mom, I'm gonna just drop the baby off.
You a lie.
I need a break.
You can drop the baby off lie. You can barely go on vacation
You
without
had
Lily.
You had a video
I know.
camera there, like,
Yeah.
I just need to see.
I definitely be checking in on Lily though when,
Yeah.
like, when I'm on vacation. Like
Yeah.
I be
She
FaceTiming her.
drop
Like,
a
what?
baby off lie. What y'all doing? Pick your glass.
Oh
I
my
I
God.
gotta go.
Wait a minute.
in the
Okay.
morning and then drive.
It's in there. A whole bottle still here.
Goodness gracious. We're gonna get to it.
I need more cheese.
So okay, so here's
It's gone. I was gonna say.
so here's my thing though.
Sorry.
So
I'll let you live because you gotta work.
if we're going along the lines that a baby at 6 weeks is person, that this is like it's a human being,
Yes.
it's a person. I feel like at that point you should be able to claim a baby on your taxes.
Yeah.
Like if you're pregnant, like you should be able to claim them on your
I
taxes.
mean, I agree.
Like if this is
I agree.
if this is
I
a
am not
human,
going to disagree with you. I agree.
this is another person in the household. Like
I agree.
And-
y'all
and-
said that they 6 weeks old, according like
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is another
Yeah,
lady in the
this is-
household.
This is a person.
So I feel like you should be able to claim them on your taxes. I feel like any other area where like you're counting dependents, I feel like
They count.
this baby that has not been born yet should be able to count. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like if we're going to go that road, I
Let's
feel
go
like
that
we
road.
need to like push it all the way. But I do think that there needs to be some type of a clause somewhere where in extenuating circumstances,
Yeah.
Yes.
like that just, it terrifies me that it's so cut and dry. You can't.
yeah,
it's
because they
illegal.
absolutely
It's done.
said it does not
Yeah,
even
they
have to
don't-
rape or incest.
It's
They don't-
that.
I
They
read
said
it
that.
and I was like,
So you're telling me, God forbid, like when you were coming up, if you were raped by
your uncle.
Like your uncle,
No, no, no.
and you're like 10.
your father,
There you go.
you would be having a baby.
It's terrifying.
That it, now,
I can't imagine that.
I couldn't imagine it either. I can't imagine it either. I do agree. And again, I'm not judging anyone.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
do.
Like I said, I can't see me
That's
ever
where
doing
my
that.
hang up
Yeah.
lives. For those that use it as birth control, I get it. Don't give them an option. But for those that did not choose this,
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's totally unfair to say, you know, we're real sorry that happened to you, but at the end of the day, we don't give a fuck. You can't do this.
I guess my thing is like, and then where do they confirm and verify?
For what?
Like any of like a rape? Because anyone would say, "Oh man, I fucked around with Marcus again, and now."
I mean, if there's a rape, there's a
Yeah.
police report.
Yeah.
Like there's names.
This ain't just
of it,
somebody coming up at the
That's
hospital
where I'm
like, I
like-
was raped.
Yeah.
No,
they're
not
like,
that. It's
they-
like legit cases.
Yeah, that's why
like,
I'm
and
like,
it's documented.
Yeah.
Like if you go to the hospital, they perform like a rape test or a rape kit or whatever. Like all of that stuff is documented. So again, I think that there just needs to be some flexibility if
Yeah.
they are going to pass this. There has to be an out for people in extenuating circumstances. I don't think any law is that cut and dry to where it's just black and white.
right.
Like there's always going to be those little caveats where it's like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Like there has to be some type of appeal process or something. Like I just feel like for them to lay this blanket law down like that, it's just dangerous. I feel like it's reckless and it's dangerous for the folks that would ultimately need it. Not the people who would utilize it just because, but for the people who would ultimately need it. I think it's terrifying to think about.
I just don't like the laws of telling people what they can do with their body and their livelihood. I just don't like it. While if I'm not out here preaching abortion, like, yeah, girl, if you just feel like you ain't with it, like you don't feel
Right.
like it today, just go get that abortion.
Right.
Not that, but
Yeah.
who am I to tell you if you get pregnant, you feel like, because I see some parents that I'm like, you shouldn't be a fucking parent.
Girl.
That option would have been great for you. Sorry to, and there's been people that have come up to me and said, what should I do? This ain't the ideal situation. I wasn't expecting this. What should I do? And my response has always been, I can't tell you that. That's your
Absolutely.
cross to bear.
Absolutely.
Right.
I won't even hint to what I think.
Right.
That is your cross to bear. I have no input.
Yeah.
What I will say is whatever you do, I support it.
Yeah.
I got your back. Whatever
Yeah.
you decide to do, whatever I can do to help in whatever situation you find, I am willing to help. I can't tell you what to do though.
Yeah.
I can't make that call.
Yeah.
I'm curious though, like how people feel afterwards. Like, because I know folks that have had abortions who have additional kids now, you know, so I always kind of wonder, like it's one of those topics where like I don't want to like bring it up or like probe too much,
Mhm.
but I am curious, like, do you think about that child, like if you've aborted, or is it really like, oh, I don't even like give it much thought because it wasn't a kid? Like I think a lot of people.
Well, I
look
talked
at
to a
it.
girl who told me, you know, she had had an abortion, and she was like, but it wasn't even like, it was just, she didn't view it as a human.
Yeah,
Or a baby. She didn't view it as
yeah.
anything but clumps, is what she actually called it.
Clumps?
Yeah. And I was
Like a
just
blood clot? Like is that what like
basically is what I can't remember the exact word, but she basically was like just clumps of matter. Is basically what she was trying to say.
I think
And
that
I was just like,
I think
it's
that
not
if
gonna
the
say
abortion
anything.
process itself changed, like they were forced to birth the baby, like
it depends
it
on how
actually-
far, I think it depends on how far along
yeah,
you
if
are.
you're super far along, they basically induce the labor and the baby dies during the process. Is
Now-
what happens.
Now I will.
Early on, they go in and take it, right?
Yeah.
So, I think going through that whole experience of like, I gotta go through labor, I have to push a baby out, and that, like, I see it,
Yeah.
it's probably different than you just.
Well,
Now
what
that's
I heard
the- now
that
that's-
there's a video that
that's
shows that they like when you go to like Planned
Girl, I can't
Parenthood.
look at that shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not pulling that up.
Mm-mm.
I'm not pulling
No,
that
not
up.
that you're gonna pull it up. Now I'm just saying, like,
I'm just saying that they don't show them
yeah,
because they don't want them to see that
Yeah.
the baby's heart is beating or that they don't want them to show that because then it's like because it's a numbers game to them. This is
Yeah.
a business for them. Like at the hospital where it's like I came in, I was raped, right?
I
Completely different thing.
But see, here's my other issue. So I think to a good friend of mine now who had blood clots like in her lungs while she was pregnant, and the doctors forced her to do an abortion. Now she was fairly early on, but she like it was her or this baby.
Yeah.
And
well, I think in this one they said that is the only exception is like if the mother's life is in danger. Is the only
okay,
exception in
I may
this
have
bill.
missed that. Okay,
Yeah, I
okay,
didn't read that part either.
okay.
I
Because
did
I'm
see
like,
that.
wait a minute, okay.
But even that, like, I feel like what's the difference in that if I was raped and I didn't choose it? Someone's telling me what to do. Someone raped me and did not give me a choice of being impregnated.
I think about people who have been raped and how fragile they are mentally and emotionally. And when there's not a baby that's involved,
They are
like what
fucked up.
they're
That fucks you
dealing
up.
with. I can't imagine how they would feel if they were being forced to like carry this out. And it makes me concerned that like suicide rates are gonna go
Yeah.
up.
Because as much as you want to say, like, once they see that baby, they'll be in love because that's their child. Yeah, but that child will always remind me of what
No.
happened to me.
Yeah, nah. I mean, thankfully, I've never been in that situation, but I can't imagine looking at a kid's face that has the same face as the person
That raped me.
that raped me and put
So
me
what's
through like
the success rate on Plan B?
it's been very successful in my case.
So my
I was
question,
gonna say.
my question to that is, if you were raped, why wouldn't you take a Plan B? And I'm not trying to be insensitive or anything, but I'm just
right.
asking.
Okay, so I'm
just
asking.
I think I may have a couple answers there.
Yeah.
So first off, Plan B is only successful if you take it within a certain amount of hours.
72 hours of unprotected sex.
Plan B is
But it's the most successful in the first
12
24.
hours.
yeah.
12, 24, whatever. But you have up to the 72. The longer you wait, the less of
Okay.
chance it's gonna work.
Also, Plan B is, it's like $50 a pop. And I don't know if you can get Plan B over the counter if you're under a certain age.
You cannot. You have to
So,
be 18.
Okay.
so in order to be able to execute that in a timely manner, first off, somebody who got raped has to be on the ball.
Okay.
And a lot of rape cases, they don't feel comfortable coming forward. They feel like it was their fault. They are embarrassed about who it was. It's a family member, so they don't quite know how to go about saying or telling who it is or what it was. So Plan B is an option for people who immediately know that they've had unprotected sex and that there's a possibility that they might be pregnant. But it's not a fix for people who have been raped, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm just putting
Looking at
everything out there.
at different options. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky
very
one.
tricky.
And it's like people, like I said, people are one extreme or the other. Either you are completely for it or you are totally against it. And I feel like people make valid points on both spectrums,
Yeah.
you know. I think while I don't believe in it, I do think that there needs to be, if they're going to pass the law that it's illegal, I think that there needs to be a little pocket that includes a few more exceptions. Even if those exceptions are a case by case and it has to be heard by like a judge or something like that. But I think that there needs to be a pocket somewhere.
But then that's crazy because like if you have, say, incest and
I'm
it's
gonna tell you,
illegal.
I'm not
And now
having.
you have to go to jail. I mean, you have to go. This proceeding is going to take forever.
It will.
Now, at what point you can no longer have an abortion?
I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you now. I'm not having a family member's kid.
No.
I don't care. The courts can say what they want to say.
Yeah.
If I got raped by like my dad or an uncle or cousin, whoever, I'm not having this kid. Now, whether or not I got to fling myself down a flight of stairs,
That's
if I got to,
But that's what I'm saying. We're gonna
It's-
start getting into people
So what-
dangerous
what
stuff.
because
is-
I'm not doing
Because
it.
you're not doing it.
I'm not doing it. I know me. Like I'm not doing it. Like
so. You said is Pennsylvania? I mean, why is this not a thing that you could not go to another state?
I'm sure you probably
Yeah.
could, but I think in order see that puts things.
But that's the whole. That
You
goes to
gotta-
her
you gotta
point,
have
like, you're not
resources.
stopping nothing.
You gotta have resources though
Right.
too. Like being able to hop in your car and be like, you know what, I'm gonna just drive 2 states over. You have to be in a place where that's an option for you, and that doesn't cover everybody.
Yeah.
What I really think about as like the people who this could potentially harm are gonna be children. Like children who have been assaulted by loved ones and people that are close to them, and it's not being reported the first time. It's not being reported the second time. It's being reported when they find out that they're pregnant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think that happens too often for us to ignore that that's a group of people who are being neglected by this law.
Yeah.
Like those are the folks who I think about. Us as adults, I mean, shit, we responsible enough. Like if you walking through an alley, you get raped, it's super sad. But you got a car, you can get your ass in the car and go somewhere else. That's an option.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're thinking about it in the moment, probably not. But you have that as an option. I think about the people who like the folks who don't have options. I think about children. I think about like mentally disabled people who
Yeah.
are being raped in like fucking rehab centers and nursing
Yeah.
homes and stuff. Like I think about those type of people, the people who don't have a voice, the people who we're supposed to advocate for them. We're taking this off the table. So now what happens? Like those are the folks that are like my big concern, you know. It's heavy. I think that we got work to do.
Yeah.
Like
For
I don't.
sure.
I think that we got work to do, and if we're going to leave it as law, like I said, I just think that there just needs to be like a little pocket. Just I don't know, something.
I agree.
But
I do agree with that.
I'm curious to see like, cause like you said, they're definitely gonna fight it. So I'm curious to
Yeah.
see like what that result's going to be. Like hopefully,
But they said like, oh, we expected them to. So
Yeah.
they've already
Yeah.
planned for the
Yeah.
rebuttal.
Yeah.
They're like we knew that was coming.
They
Yeah.
said, and we're ready for
Yeah,
it.
we're
Yeah.
ready for it. That's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
We're ready for it. We knew that was coming.
yeah.
So
And like I said, like it's happened twice already. Iowa and Kentucky passed it into law, and they fought it, and they actually won. Like it's no longer illegal there. So I think states are learning from other states, kind of what's coming, what works, what the issues are, you know, what people's concerns are.
And well, Kasich, it was brought before him, and the reason why he didn't sign off on it is because he said it would cost too much of the taxpayers' dollars to take it to court. The as much as it would go is DeWine is like, let's go.
let's go for it.
Yeah.
It's been a little short fun.
I was about to say,
Sorry.
he so
It reminds me of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
so he
The
re-
dad.
oh he does kind of. So what I was gonna say is a little worse than that. So in my time off, I recently started watching some of the Harry Potter movies for the first time, and there's
In fact, she done realized a whole bunch of shit since she's
yeah,
been
I mean
You're
a
a nerd?
little bit.
Okay.
But I started watching Harry Potter. You know, I mean, because I was looking for stuff that would like take up time.
You can only watch so much stuff on TV. Like,
Are you all caught up on Game of Thrones?
Oh, Ben,
Okay.
girl, I'm just waiting for
you waiting
Sunday.
for it, yeah.
Yeah. But so there's a character on Harry Potter named Dobby, and Dobby is this little decrepit.
He's a hobbit, right?
Yes, he's like a hobbit.
Yeah.
He's decrepit. He's like wrinkled everywhere. Like he looks like he's in pain
All the time.
all the time. He looks like his skin hurts.
Wait a minute,
like-
wait a minute. I was thinking of the one from Lord of the Rings, not.
Okay,
I
so
know
I've
who
never
you're-
seen Lord of the
But I know who you're
Rings, but
talking
I
about.
feel like I know who you're talking. I feel like it's almost the same character, like
Okay.
decrepit, like
Yeah.
that's kind of
This is how he makes.
that's kind of who he reminds me of. Like I say all that to say, I feel like Mike DeWine resembles Dobby from Harry Potter.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll see.
So did I seen on the news yesterday morning
Mhm.
about they are no longer accepting transgender in the military?
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes. Transgender will no longer be accepted for military services.
Wow.
No
Damn.
clue.
You want to?
No clue.
But you can still be like gay in the military. You just can't be transgender.
Specifically, the headline said transgender.
Alrighty, they're gonna fight that.
As they should.
They're gonna fight that. Yeah, they
Because
are.
I identify as one or the other. If you allow male and female to serve in the military,
Right.
what does it matter
Yeah.
if I transition into
Yeah,
the
you
opposite
one of the
what?
two.
I'm one of the two still. What difference does
Yeah.
it make? I just think this is the dumbest thing
Yeah,
that we could be focusing on right now.
they make it seem like they were saying that they're a unicorn. Like
It's-
I am
it's-
no longer human. I
Yeah.
am a unicorn. So that's why we're not
Sometimes I feel
allowing.
like a
you.
unicorn.
Actually,
That's
I wear a
neither here
unicorn. They're
nor
fucking
there.
fabulous.
I just feel like there's so many other things we could be fighting about in the world.
That's
other
every
than
day.
Yeah.
transgenders being in the
Every
military.
Yeah.
You know who's behind it is your lovely orange president.
Mine.
Mhm.
There's y'all.
Y'all.
Colonel Tangerine is what I like to refer to him as.
I just don't refer to him as anything.
I have never
Kira does not allow
disliked
me
a person
to talk about.
so much. Like if someone that I did not personally know, I've never
Yeah.
disliked someone this much.
Yeah. I think part of it is because like it goes so much further beyond politics and like
It's just
Republican
a
or
personal,
Democrat.
It's just a
He's-
person, just like on a
he's
human
just-
level. Like I don't like.
he's
him.
he's just not a good person.
He's just not a good person.
And I don't think that he has anybody's like best interest at heart except for his own.
None.
His own.
Like
And I
not even his own personal family.
Yeah.
I
None.
don't care about nothing or anybody.
If it's
I
me
agree.
or my wife, that bitch is going under that bus.
and
Package her up and roll her ass under there on fire.
Do you
I'm
need
gonna
a
grab
blow?
her. I'm gonna grab her pussy on the way.
On the way. Matter of
I'm just
fact,
like-
I'm gonna grab her by the pussy and
And
roll
grab
her
her
ass on fire under the bus.
Oh my
shit.
god. I'm just really confused as to how he's been able to escape this whole Me Too movement. Like I don't understand. Like
I
How
don't
is
know
he-
how he's escaped a lot of things.
that is a true statement. That is a true statement.
I'm just like, we really gonna let him get away with that?
Yeah.
Like, we really are gonna let him get away with that?
Yeah. So
But
he
everything
did the
that-
same thing that. Okay.
Everything that happens though, I just be confused. I mean, I've been confused since he won the election.
Yes.
Like, wait a minute.
Well, we know how he won the election.
I still couldn't believe it when it came up.
I
I was
know.
like, no.
It's
We got
because
we ain't
a
got the
lot of us-
electoral votes yet. We
a
ain't
lot
got
of us didn't like Hillary so much that we
just didn't go vote.
We either didn't vote. We put in the monkey from the zoo that died.
That's why
we put
the
in Bernie.
Democratic
We
Party
put
put
whatever.
Bernie's ass in. Let me not.
I don't
Whatever.
know. Bernie ain't the best choice
And
for
that-
us
and
either.
that's
He
why.
would have been a better rival to Trump.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think it was more so why all them old conservative white folks came out and voted the way they did for Trump because they was like, I will die before I see the day that a fucking woman is in that seat.
Mm,
There you go.
mm.
That too.
That's
But
so
some of
much
us hate Hillary so much that it's like.
I was willing to deal with her before him.
like the lesser of
She
evil.
wasn't my first choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. Seriously. And now this, like, now we got so many people.
Everybody like, fuck it, I'm throwing my hat. What's his name? Got him. He might as well come back on and really enter the race too.
At this point,
You know, hey, Kanye, you too. You too. We might as well give you a shot too. Everybody just
cracking
come
up.
on and jump on in the race. Come on.
Everybody is like, well, shit, if he did it, I could do it.
When is the next election? Is it next year?
Yeah,
2020. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Mm. That's all you can
So the
say.
good news is,
Mm-hmm.
but the bad news is.
Yeah. And we can't, the bad part is, out of all of this, all these people jumping in, we still can't count his bitch ass out.
I don't have faith that he's not going to. be
Me
reelected.
either. That's what I'm saying. You can't count him out.
There is.
I was so positive he was not getting in. This past time, I was like, there is no way
No
America's
way.
about to do this.
No
Like, there's
way.
no way.
No way. I went to bed like,
Yeah,
is
no,
it
he ain't
Kanye?
getting
It's not
yeah.
right. It's either J. Cole or oh my goodness, I'm slipping because I'm tired.
Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick.
Okay.
It's Kendrick.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
it.
Yeah.
you said.
Kendrick.
Hey, I'm like,
Kendrick. That was like we all went to sleep, woke up like this
what?
can't be true. The news can't be true. And I was like, that's not true. And roll up.
Like
I
that.
turned on the radio and I was like, no. Turn that off.
Somebody's bullshitting this.
Ignorance is bliss for the next 4 years. That didn't happen. I don't know who the president is, but I don't know because I didn't ever turn on the news.
Lord, I was so shocked and confused. Like, discombobulated. I think is a
Discombobulated.
good way to
Yeah.
describe
Amazing
my
word.
state of confusion
Everybody
and
was.
disbelief.
Everybody for that first like month was like, what?
Like, okay, so who won for real?
Yeah.
Like, is this episode over yet?
Is
Like,
this Frank?
like, when's he gonna be fired and then
Yeah.
the real president's gonna come
And then we
on?
accepted like,
Yes.
okay, cool, y'all put him in there. How long till he gets out?
Yes.
And we
Yes.
still waiting.
Still.
We all was so sure that first year, like, oh, he gone. Maxine Waters is not playing with him. He is
Yes.
gone.
Auntie
Oh my
Maxine.
God. Auntie Maxine is not playing. He is out of there. He's
Mm.
still there. He's still there.
Still.
Could you imagine President Obama, all these issues coming up while he was in office?
Oh no, he wouldn't have been there.
We put a president out for smoking weed and getting his dick sucked, but he can grab him by the pussy and tell you he's gonna do it. Had a relationship with a porn star, whatever, all the stuff he did with Stormy Daniels that they didn't tell us about. All his
Louder for the people in the back.
ill will of business dealings that he's done and been called out on.
Blatant racist.
Blatant. He's still there. He done been on the news and told y'all. He ain't saying like this, but he told you, I don't give a fuck.
That's what I heard.
I've heard that multiple times.
That was the translation that came across.
That's what I heard.
When
I
happened to turn on the
don't
news.
give a fuck about y'all.
You don't give a fuck. You don't get a fuck.
He-
Nobody gets a
Nobody
fuck.
gives a fuck. He almost came gangster with it, like, I don't give a fuck.
I don't fuck with you.
He almost came off, I don't give a fuck, cuz. He almost came like that. Like, y'all ain't here, but that's what I heard. Multiple times.
That was the translation when
Yep.
I happened to watch the news that one day.
The crazy thing is he still has a shit ton of supporters.
A
Oh,
shit
yeah.
ton.
Oh yeah.
And it's the
Like, what
A
are you
lot-
support? At this
well-
point, like, tell me what are you supporting? Seriously. Tell me exactly what it is you're supporting. Like,
So,
keep it all the way real. What
What
is
I
it
was
that you're
told
supporting?
by
A supporter.
a supporter.
That was a
He
nice
says
way
it.
of putting that.
He says what we all are thinking.
Spoken from a racist.
Okay.
Which is why I said that was a nice way of putting supporter.
Okay, so we want to
as-
run the American government on somebody saying what we're all thinking? I don't care what you're saying.
Poor, rural,
What are you
white
doing?
America is who voted him in office. And they
he doesn't care about
And they
them.
still
He don't even
support
care
him.
about them.
They don't.
And
don't
he
care
has
about
told
nobody.
them, I don't give a fuck.
Straight crip cuz.
Right. He has told them. He done called y'all stupid. You stupid and I don't give a fuck. But vote for me.
But vote for me anyway. Okay. All right.
It's terrifying.
Every time I hear him on a news special, I'll be like, I hate you.
I just think
hate
it's scary
you.
that like he doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Like he literally does not have anyone's best interest at heart, and for you to be the president, like, and that be your mentality, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But
And
hopefully
I
this
think
will
we
be over
just
soon.
went from one spectrum to the other, from President Obama
We did, and
to
and-
Trump. And like we've talked before, like I
Obama-
agree with everything.
Yeah,
about
let's-
him. I'm not
let's-
saying he was just-
Obama was
right,
not
he
the
was just
greatest
sitting there.
president.
No, I'm not saying that.
it was a great win because we got somebody who didn't fit the mold in office. That was it was
And
amazing.
actually cared about American
It was amazing.
people.
He cared about people. He cared about people's
real
well-being.
issues, like real life day-to-day issues.
He
not
listened.
on this, not up to this high
Right.
level that only,
Right.
Yeah.
affects the 1%.
Yeah.
He cared about everyone. Like, what
Yeah.
can we do to make shit easier for everybody? Not
Yeah.
just me and mine, but everybody.
Yeah. I mean, hell, even Bush was one of the worst presidents ever.
But we just hated
But
him because he was him. Like, he was,
Well, I mean,
he
even
was dumb.
first off, so not, aside from him being dumb, I think that he did a lot of things as kind of like payback for when his dad was in office.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to, kind of get some things in order, and he had a vendetta
Yeah,
when he went into office.
absolutely.
But even with that being said, at the end of the day, I still felt like
He wasn't
everything
bad.
that he did was, in his mind at least, for
This
the
is-
betterment of the country.
This is really what I think
Like,
is
like,
better.
In his spirit, I think that he
Yeah.
ultimately thought, like, while you don't agree with me,
I do think
I do think that this is the best plan. I think
Yeah.
that this is the best option. That's all that we can ask
Which is
for.
why I say he was just dumb.
That's-
all. Is-
I mean, he was though. He was.
That's all.
But like that's all we can ask for from a president is that they listen and hope that they move forward with what they think is
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
Homeboy that's in there right now with that terrible ass weave.
And lace front.
First
Oh,
off,
that ain't no damn lace. Don't you put that on lace fronts.
first
'Cause I done
off,
seen some cold lace fronts and that ain't it.
the fact that his hair looks like that lets me know that he's not capable of making good decisions. So I feel like he could have never been
he
voted
has
in
on
there
one
based off
of
his
them
hair.
Halloween masks. Like them Halloween wigs.
For
Like
real?
it's supposed to look like that. You be like, it ain't supposed to. No. You
No.
bought it that way. It's supposed to look like
When
that.
they show pictures of his shit flapping in the wind,
It's supposed to be like that. That's what I'm saying.
I die every time. Every time.
No. It's supposed to be like that.
Ooh.
Like I think your style is messed up. Like your hair was that place. No. It's supposed to be like that. Mm-mm.
Oh,
And like you said, you make bad decisions on that level. You're not fit to be president.
No. You can't even tack this little strip of hair down to your bald scalp.
Listen, you got all that money, and they got all this technology to take
Hair
a
plugs
bald
for
a
men,
bald head and give him
Rogaine.
a full set of hair with a hairline in the fade, and you out here like that, and you got money.
He's incapable of making decent decisions.
LeBron has grown 6 hairlines in his career,
All of them. I
and
ain't
you
mad at
walking
him.
around like that.
That's a high mess. It's a high mess.
Poor decision.
A high mess.
Poor decision on a basic level.
You're
means
fired.
You are not
You're fired.
capable of being president of the United States.
Like I said,
Mm,
the good news is,
mm,
but the bad news is.
mm, mm,
Mm.
Sweet
I'm scared for
baby Jesus.
2020.
I mean, it can't get no worse. It can't get no worse. Worst case
You know
scenario,
what?
we
You're
stuck.
right about that.
That's the
how I
silver
look
lining.
at it. That's how I
Worst
look at
case
it.
scenario, it's another 4 years of the same bullshit. Like
That's
worst
how I
case.
gotta look at it. Like, can't get no worse. Oh, but then.
Mm.
I hate saying that. Can't get no worse because oh, but then.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh, but then.
here we go. Lord have mercy.
I want to hear all. I want to see the report, the investigation reports though. I'm waiting for them to release.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Like
And
detail
like
of-
everybody's like, oh, he got off here. That was just on the Russia shit.
Right.
What about the other 1,000 other?
Right.
I was surprised though that they came back with the conclusion that they did. I was
Girl,
like,
who believes that?
who paid somebody off?
Exactly. Who believes that?
Because they was coming hard. They had receipts for days.
So you mean he came into the office and they was going at you, like you said, they was coming hard, like, oh no, they was coming like,
we got
how the police
receipts.
be playing with you, like, no, we got you,
Mhm,
we got you.
mhm.
I'm just keep letting you talk, just to let you talk.
Mhm.
We got you. That's how they was coming at him, and then for him to step in and be like, there are no,
I did very good. Very, very good.
That's a good impression.
Ignorant. Oh, thank you. It doesn't take much. Just throw in a few berries.
good and bad,
Mhm.
and
Very, very bad.
very, very bad.
Oh my God, he's the worst.
Did he go to college?
Probably that Trump university that failed.
Nah,
No?
he went to that. He did that same stuff.
That Laura.
Felicity and all that.
Yeah,
That's
Laura
what happened. Yeah, that's what he did.
Oh
That's
my
what
God.
he
So
did.
speaking of them, so we can all agree that that's like some fucked up shit. Right?
Yes.
Why is Aunt Becky looking at 40 years though? I'm like, y'all play too much. Like, they better quit playing.
Y'all not about to lock Aunt Becky up
I'm
for
like,
30 years.
yo, somebody better draw the damn line somewhere because listen, y'all cannot put the Full House star in the big house for fucking 40 years off of some college embezzlement type shit. Like so she turned down a plea deal for 2 years, right? And she was like, boom, like we gonna get through this. These fools hit her with like 15 or 30 charges, like something crazy, like embezzlement,
Yeah,
like
they
money
brought out all
laundering.
that shit. Like,
They hit her with all these charges, so she went from 2 years to 40 years. And I was reading the article, and I was like, well, now Lori Loughlin is starting to panic.
yeah,
You think?
40 years? Bitch, you don't even have 40 years left in this lifetime. Because how old is she? Like 50?
Yo, she about to do 40 years to get her kids into a college that them motherfuckers ain't even want to go to in the first place.
Because how about a YouTube star be on YouTube? Like,
She
I don't even want to be here.
Yeah.
I just want to be on YouTube. Put on this makeup.
I was like,
I don't even go to class.
they better quit playing. They better stop trying to make a case out of her.
But
They-
you know what? I am glad, though, that they are making an example out they
yeah.
asses. I don't even want to go there,
Yep.
but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just feel like they need to scare her a little bit, you know, slap her with a fine, maybe do like a year or two. 40 years is insane. The other thing though that
She's 54.
the other thing that I'm really confused
Yeah.
about though too,
She might
is-
got 40 years left. That's
maybe, right?
Maybe. That's what I'm saying.
So they're going super hard on her and Felicity Huffman. But like, where are the rest of these? You won't hear nothing about the rest of these folks. Like,
Because they ain't high profile. That's all.
bring their asses up on
Yeah, 'cause
charges
if you
too.
think
Like,
that-
Well, I'm sure they
all of
are.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same being publicized.
Yeah.
That's all.
Not publicized.
If you think that was the
So
only
what
thing-
did the husband do? Because I just remember I walked into my grandma's house and she's watching entertainment, one of them shows.
Mhm. ET girl, that's
and-
my joint.
And Aunt Becky's on there, and I was like, did
she
she
turned old as hell with being off work?
I mean, I've been watching everything.
I know.
Girl,
Jeopardy too?
Oh no, I don't watch Jeopardy because Jeopardy makes me feel dumb
She
because
had
I
about
only
another-
get like
She had about another week.
She was
She
on
was on
Jeopardy.
Girl, I'll call you back. Jeopardy's on.
Yes.
Jeopardy be stressing me out. I be thinking that I be knowing the category. I be like, yes, such and
That's
such
it.
for 300, and then they ask the question. I be like,
I thought you said
I
this
was like,
was
wait a
all-
minute.
That seemed like a double Jeopardy question. Not three. I said 300.
I be like, I am college educated. Why don't I know the answer to this shit? Like, that should be stressing me out. I'd be like, I'm low key dumb. Like,
Oh,
you know what?
OMG.
Now, Wheel of Fortune, that's a different story. Wheel of Fortune, I don't miss.
Always
Lord
wondered.
have mercy.
Mm-hmm. That's my stuff. But anywho,
Yeah, so what did her husband, because isn't her husband in trouble too?
probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
Poor Lori.
Aunt
And
Becky.
Felicity.
Oh my God.
So did Felicity's kid not know what the mom was doing and Lori's did?
I think all they asses knew what was going on. All of them.
How do you not know? Because if I'm not producing Harvard grades, why the fuck am I in Harvard?
If I got a scholarship to fucking row and I'm not at school rowing my ass off,
Yeah.
I know damn well.
Yeah.
Somebody did something. Somebody messed up some paperwork
Yeah.
somewhere. Like,
We don't even have a rowing.
You
team.
really have a row team.
We have a row team.
excuse me, what is rowing? Are we rowing a boat? What are we doing? I don't know. Mm-mm. A hot mess. But no, yeah, when I saw that 40 years, I was cracking up. Like,
Bitch was starting to panic. Like, yeah, bitch. I'm panicked too. Somebody told me there's a possibility I'm going to get 40 years. 40 years?
she turned down 2 years. Like,
Listen, I'd have been in that courtroom like, girl, I was playing, girl. Give me that 2 years.
Oh,
oh my God.
I want to change that story around real quick.
Can we do 2 years on house arrest? Can I do this from the house? Like,
I won't even ask for that. I'd be like, that's okay. 2 years. 2 years. Yep. I think I got 2 years.
oh my
What is
God.
that?
24 months.
months carried to 2.
And I can get out on good behavior.
And
Okay, all right. So really, we looking at like 18 months.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I could do that.
18 months, that's like if I carried a baby twice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's only. It's only 2 seasons of Game of Thrones.
There it
you
is.
know,
There it
this is
is.
the Game of
You
There
Thrones.
know.
it is. There it is.
You say I can't watch that. That's okay. Don't
Okay.
be Game of Thrones.
That's all right because they on the last season anyway. You know, that's coming on Sunday. We good.
We can DVR it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's
I'll
40.
change my story real. 40 years?
How about, and who you need? Who all do you need in
You want me
this
to get
ring?
some information?
Who was the ringleader? Who was the ringleader?
The dude at the school that was
Yeah.
contacting all them or doing the deals with them.
Yeah.
And he told on everybody, so they hit his ass with the years first, and he was like,
They,
"Here go all
they
levels.
did,
Here go everybody. You want?"
he said 40 years.
He turned around like, "Hey, come here. They want you. They want no, for real. They want you.
He
They
was
want you."
shaking his pen like, I think I need a new pen. I'm out of ink, but I need to keep going.
Back in the 50s, my grandma had said that. Like, I would have told on everybody. Listen, don't do no dirt with me. I'm telling.
What you
I'm
said.
telling.
What you
I'm
said. Because
sorry.
like you said earlier, I'm not built for jail.
I cannot be a bad woman's girlfriend. I can't.
You right, because the one here will knock your head off. You keep playing around with your girlfriend you got at work will knock your head off. You playing.
Lord have mercy. Girl.
I'd have told on everybody too. For some college applications? Right.
So wait a minute. They just to get them into school because I don't know the whole story. I just remember seeing her on Grandma's Entertainment,
They
and I
got
was
them
like,
in
and I was like, did she
scholarship.
die? Like, why is she on TV? And they were like, oh no, she was embezzling. And I was like,
So first
oh, I
off,
got to get into
Lo-
this.
Lori.
So wait a minute. So they just got in on the scholarships,
Yeah,
so
'cause
they,
you know, like,
didn't have to pay.
Well, it ain't even that. It's just to
So-
get them in. Because you know, schools like Harvard, even if you can
highly,
pay, you
highly
ain't,
competitive.
you ain't just getting in.
So
Absolutely.
the issue at hand is that these folks were paying these schools to basically open up a space for their kids, and they were ultimately taking spaces from
Kids that earned it.
well-deserving, hard-working students who were no longer able to get in.
Yeah.
So in Lori Laughlin's place, she, which this is another thing, everybody else that they listed spent like maybe like $20,000, $50,000. Lori's ass spent like $500,000.
I thought it was close to $1 million. Because then she get both of hers in
Maybe it was 500
a
each.
piece. Yeah, 'cause I thought it was like $1 million.
Either way, 500,000 and 20,000 are totally different. So she at least spent like $500,000 to get these kids into this school.
So she thought her kids were dummies.
I mean, the
They-
one who didn't even want to
I
be
mean,
there.
the
I mean, I know you
YouTuber
told-
was on there like, I don't even want to go. I just want to do makeup on my hair. Like, she wasn't
Uh-huh.
on it. Like, she didn't even want it.
It's just a hot mess all around.
So they were paying the dude up there, and he was finding spaces like, okay, we'll put him on this.
We're gonna put them on this row team. Yup. Chess team. Boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
It's fucked up.
It is, because like you said, those students that were well deserved, that worked hard all through their high school career,
Yep.
or whether they didn't even work hard, they just were naturally gifted like that, like they deserved
Right.
that spot.
And this ain't the first time that
You
this
know how long
happened.
this shit been going on.
Yeah.
And even well before the dude that got caught now, I'm sure there was
This
somebody
happens at every school, I'm sure.
Yes.
Every
Oh, yeah.
prestigious, well-known school. Like there's always that issue of people who are born into shit, people who have a silver spoon in their mouth. Like you have more opportunities one way or another than other run-of-the-mill regular folks.
What I do like the exposure of it is it absolutely shows what we say about white privilege.
Yeah,
Y'all have
absolutely.
these.
Absolutely.
And we just talking about college applications.
Yeah.
But what we say is worldwide on every level
Every-
of life.
Yes.
Y'all have
Absolutely.
these opportunities. This is what
Absolutely.
happens.
Absolutely.
Yes.
When
Internships.
exactly, I was
Yeah.
just about to say when they go to get jobs and internships for
Yeah.
sure, straight out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a reality.
Definitely.
Trump
So I
America.
do like that it's exposing that part. Like this is what we be meaning. This is exactly like to the T
This is
what
we're
we
talking
mean.
about. This is what we're talking about.
Somebody's cup is looking dry.
No, there's a lot.
That sounded like us right there. Didn't
I
I
know.
Like,
Did you
I am
see me
not a
pause?
tether. Well, first of all, you couldn't call me a tether because she wasn't actually tethered.
Did-
So
No,
was
she
actually
wasn't
a real
a tether,
person.
Did you not see me pause though when you made that voice? Like,
You got scared?
yeah, a little bit. Call me off guard.
Scary ass.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
just a splash because I do have to go to
I went
work.
to-
Oops. Oh shoot. Oh, dang. My bad.
Speaking of me being scary, so I went to the spring game today, and
Oh, that's right. I
I
forgot. No
did.
wonder your ass was taking a nap.
I was tired. Little baby was tired.
No wonder she was like, I just woke up. Oh.
So we're leaving, and I'm crossing the street, and this car full of dudes yells out OH, But when I tell you, it was like the most raspy, deep voice. It startled the shit out of me. And I did like, I was walking onto the curb, and somehow like my other one leg was on the curb. The other one, I just kicked it out by like, it was like a reflex. Like, I got startled, and like the sideways karate kick came out, and I almost took one of the people.
Yeah, you can do it.
I did not know I could do it, but I almost took some folks out, and all I could do was just
She
apologize.
turned
Like,
into Billy Blanks real quick.
I was like, I'm so sorry, I got startled, and this was a reflex. I don't know what happened. I don't know what
You know,
happened.
it's like one of the scariest people in the world.
I am.
Yes.
I jump over everything.
I was
don't know.
scared that you were gonna say that you fell though, so I'm just glad that that
No,
didn't
no. So there
She
was
almost took somebody out.
there was a hill. There was a steep hill that we had to walk down as we were going from the parking lot to the field.
Mhm.
And me and my friend were like, if one of us falls down this hill, just know that we're going back to the car. Like,
Oh, girl.
I was
Meet you
like,
at the car.
if one of us falls down this hill, flag down one of them bicycles that's out here pedaling people to and from, and
Make
we're
your way
going,
back up.
and we're going back to the car.
You gonna
Like,
leave your friends at the bottom of the hill though?
listen,
Because you know, once you fall down the hill, you can't stop. Like,
No,
there ain't no, like,
no,
catch
it's
yourself.
not a-
like,
Yeah,
you
no,
go all the way to the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
You gonna leave your
You,
friends
you
to hike
just
back
let
up
it
that hill.
happen.
I know.
I can't do nothing about it.
I ain't walking down no hill with your ass.
I can't do nothing about it. Listen, whatever happens, it's meant to be. You know.
It's like that meme I sent y'all. Where it's like black people, the only people that see you walking, and be like, "Where was you going earlier?" You gonna text my ass earlier? Like, did you end up falling all the way down, or you made it back up? You fell all the way down here. Dang, that's messed up. That's messed up.
Yo, these memes be out of control.
But it's true
That was
though.
how I was
It's
talking.
true. It's true. Black people be like, "Where was you going earlier?" Like, why you ain't stopping off for me a ride?
Oh, that just brings back bad memories of me walking. Mia had a parade in Bexley
Mm-hmm.
for 4th of July. It's her first parade, so I'm excited. And they're doing good, so I'm recording it. And I was like, I'm only going to go to like this part. Ended up walking the whole parade. Whole parade.
You got your steps in though. I know
I
you was
got
happy
all
about
of my
that.
steps.
You was
But
happy
here's
about
the
that.
thing. My car was parked on like 5th and Cassidy. Like
Mm-hmm.
Bexley High School. Do you know what that is?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it ended.
You walked from
That's-
your car all the way over to Bexley High School?
Yeah, just being in the parade, just like, oh, I'm so excited.
And then I had to go back.
How am I get to my car?
She says that. Have y'all seen the Kevin Hart?
Yeah, I did.
So he was so
I did.
excited.
Yeah.
I really went to so excited. So excited.
So I did not think it was as fun. Like it was not that funny.
But
Is
that
it on
part,
Netflix?
yes,
Yeah.
that part, that so excited
Yeah.
part got
Yeah.
me, and the one where he talked about his son with them arguing back and forth. When he talked about the daughter was cussing his son
Oh,
out,
yeah.
and he was like, "My son just like me." He said, "But like, what do we even talk about? Like, okay,
You don't think Kevin Hart stuff is funny the second or third time?
no,
you
this
watch
one was
it?
just,
Not
yeah."
Yeah. Normally the first
I was
go
trying
round,
to give it to him.
the first
No,
go round,
right,
normally Kevin Hart stuff be having me in tears.
There was one, and I don't remember because he's done so many now. The first time I watched it, I did not think it was funny, and the second time I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. So that's where I thought.
Well, you know, with him, like, cause he plays the same character, and you expect to hear like the same noises and voices at this
Yeah,
point. Like
yeah.
when he does it, you're just like, I mean, I've heard it.
Yeah, it's
Got it.
old.
Yeah.
It's old. Like
Yeah.
I think that's my
Like even in movies, like I'm tired of
Oh,
you
no,
playing the little
absolutely.
short punk ass
Exactly.
dude. Like,
Like
Yeah.
he plays the same
That-
exact character.
you
I
get
did
scared
love
and
him.
raise your voice at a high octave.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired of seeing that.
Yeah.
Like,
What was-
something else?
what was the movie what's the name of it? He played like a more serious character here recently with like a guy who was like paralyzed.
Robert De Niro.
Yes.
I don't
wasn't
think
it
it
wasn't
was
Robert De Niro,
no.
but I know who you're talking about.
The
Al Pacino.
upside.
Yeah.
Is that the name of it? Yeah, I
Who
love that
was
movie.
it? It was one of the prominent actors.
I
Like, who
didn't-
was it?
I don't think I
Robert
recognize.
Redford.
I don't know who that is. I didn't recognize his face. I don't believe like when I watched.
No, the
movie.
dude's face, like he's a
Brian Cranston.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
who that is.
yeah, he's like a white. He's a older white guy. He's a well-known actor. I knew it was one.
I mean,
of
I
them.
know he's an older white guy. I watched the movie,
He's a-
but I don't
he's a
remember seeing him
well-known
nowhere.
actor.
Yeah, I loved it.
I haven't seen it yet.
I loved it. Like it was a really good movie, but he also didn't play
I'm messing
that
around watching
typical like character.
He
Yeah.
didn't.
He
And he
did not.
did well.
Yeah, he did great. Like it was a good movie.
Okay, I'm watching it then
Yeah.
because I've definitely like gotten tired of seeing him in that same
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's why people came out so fast with Tiffany Haddish. Like, girl, we've seen this career path with Kevin Hart. Like, you're not gonna come into the comedy game and do the same thing. Like, leave the ratchet. Like, we seen that in Girls Trip, and it was hilarious.
Yes.
But
We
I've
all
had
wanna
to see it
know.
on every commercial, anything else.
Yeah.
Like, leave it there.
Yeah, I was very underwhelmed.
Bryan
with
Cranston's from Breaking Bad.
Yes.
That is him.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
There's another. There's something else he was in too. I can't think of
I'm
it.
still searching.
There's something else he was in too.
Breaking Bad. Okay. Yep.
I forgot about Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
That shit was great.
So good.
That it had me at work, like
It was so
like
good.
episode to episode at work.
Did you ever watch the Sauls or something?
Better Call Saul?
Yeah. Did you ever watch that?
Yes.
I didn't watch
I
that.
think I
one.
watched
Was it
halfway
good?
He was in
Season
Saving
2.
Private Ryan.
Yes.
I don't think I ever
Rush
saw that.
In.
Oh yeah.
He was in Fools Rush In?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at all the ones.
Yeah,
that
Saving
might-
Private Ryan was a
Little
big
Miss
one.
Sunshine.
He's had a few. He's had a big
The Lincoln Lawyer.
yeah, he's had a few big
Drive.
movies.
Yeah. I just didn't like.
Batman.
He was in Batman?
I didn't recognize
Must
him
have
in
been
this
like a
movie
star
like that
role.
though. But yeah. Okay, that is him.
That's what I was gonna say.
I
He's
never
one
knew
of
his
the-
name though. I'll tell you that now. Like,
I mean, let's be clear, he didn't like blow up till
well, even when y'all said
Breaking
it,
Bad.
well, even from Breaking
Breaking
Bad,
Bad
I still
was
don't, recognize his name though. Like, I know.
I only know his name because of Breaking Bad. That's when I realized what his name was. I know I'd seen him in other movies,
Yeah,
but didn't know his name until Breaking Bad.
yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was like Robert De Niro, though. I'm not. Must be lying. I don't know why I went to Robert De Niro.
I like Robert De Niro.
I
like
like
Robert.
Him and
Me
Al
too.
Pacino.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute, is he still married to his wife?
He's
No.
married to a black lady, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Was it Al Pacino or Robert De Niro?
Robert
One
De
of them
Niro
got-
was. I don't know about.
One
I'm not.
got a divorce. Google
I'm-
it.
I'm
One
not
of them
sure.
got
You
a
know
divorce.
I'm on it.
I
Fact checking.
Both of them were married to black women,
didn't
and one
realize
of them
that.
got a divorce
I think
recently.
Robert did. Because I feel
Because
like
I was
saw
shocked
that
when
on
I
the
heard
Shade
it.
Room.
Like, what?
Mm.
Yes, I feel like I saw that on the Shade Room.
You better stop playing. Let me stop. But I was shocked when I heard it.
Oh
And then like, that.
man.
Oh, wait a minute.
Al Pacino.
Robert De Niro is still with his. So if
Look up
first
Al
of
Pacino.
all, Robert De Niro, both of his wives.
Mhm.
have been black.
Yes.
Mhm.
And he's still with his wife.
Mhm.
Yes.
How long was he married to the first one? Does it say?
1976 to 1988
Okay, so then the
And
second one
then
is the
the
one
second
everybody
one
knows.
is it just says 1997. So if they have like filed divorce,
It would have to be like very recent.
yeah.
so
So it
would have
says
to be
Robert De
picked out.
Niro
No, it would
split
be like news because this was like last year or the year
November
before.
27th, 2018. Robert De Niro confirmed split from wife Grace
There
Hightower.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
See if Al
so-
Pacino's still married to his
I
wife.
didn't know Al Pacino was married to a
Girl,
black
both of
lady.
them. You know, they went to them gangster movies and was like,
For real.
give me a bad.
Mm, nope, it is not looking that way. She is not black. Al Pacino.
Al Pacino's wife is that?
How you get a divorce when you that old though? Like, ride this
Right,
shit out
like
at
just,
this point.
that has
Like-
always been my question. Like,
Okay, let's be clear. They're rich. So
my thing is like, you
they're
go on your
rich.
side of the wing, I'm gonna stay on my side.
Speaking of rich and divorces,
Girl, I don't know.
them Amazon folks, the Bezos, his wife, when they split, the money she got made her the third richest woman in the world
divorce.
from the divorce.
From divorce.
Wow.
He still remains the richest man.
Even after paying her
Wow.
ass. Like,
Bitch walked away with like 300 billion or million.
yeah,
Some-
no, it was billions.
Some dumbass number.
It was no millions. It was billions.
like,
But then I'm like, who the fuck is richer than her? Like, where are those two people?
girl,
Where
they
are
probably,
the two women that are richer than her?
they probably over like Dubai somewhere or
Yeah,
some like
somebody we would never hear their
fucking-
names.
architect, oil tycoon,
Yeah,
something.
Oil tycoon. Al Pacino has a new girlfriend as of September 24th, 2018.
Did you Google Al
He
Pacino
has-
divorce?
So
Because he has
he
black
doesn't
kids.
even have any wives listed under his Wikipedia. He only has children.
Okay,
So
then
let's
maybe it
look
was
at
a
these
girlfriend.
children.
His children are black. Look at the images. Because I was like, they both had black women.
That's what I thought, but per the images, I want to say
Negative.
someone may have adopted somebody, but these are all not.
They're not ours.
They're not. They're not of color.
I'm trying to find the most PC.
They're not of
Yes.
colorish.
They don't have.
They're lacking
more
melanin.
Okay,
with
maybe.
you.
Trying to find.
I'm with you,
Bro,
But
girl.
I could have swore I saw the same thing.
I could have
so.
swore I saw the same thing too. Maybe I'm completely merging him with Robert De Niro.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I
because they
definitely-
play in all the same movies.
They play the same
They say-
roles.
they-
It's one
yes,
or the other. They play
yes.
the same roles for a while. So
Yes.
maybe I'm merging like the two. It
Yeah.
very well could be. I'm very good at making up stuff in my mind. So
Same
but I tell you all the time, like,
Same.
girl, don't quote me on that. I'm probably making that up.
Same.
They'd be like, you remember what? I'd be like, yeah, because he had it. And she'd be like, I'd be like, girl, don't quote me. I'm not going to make that up.
I'd be like, no, that's not what
Yeah,
happened.
that's-
Yeah.
I probably made that up.
Al Pacino's new girlfriend is quite young.
I ain't mad at all that shit. If
It
you gonna
still
pull a new
works.
boo, do your thing. Like, get you that little young piece. I ain't mad.
Make you feel young again.
I do know that if I'm 70, we are not getting divorced.
No.
Depends on how much money is involved. Because I can live very happy and wealthy.
I feel like you
At
still
70?
can.
I mean, at that point, like, shit, if I die in this house, who
Listen.
will call the ambulance or something? Like,
At
we gonna ride this out.
we gonna ride this out, okay?
At 70,
Ain't no divorce, babe. Okay.
Like,
at 70, I've definitely got more years.
too late
behind
for you to
me.
be happy. Deal with this shit.
I mean, go
That's
go,
terrible,
girlfriend.
that's
That's
terrible,
fine.
that's
That's
terrible.
probably now you're thinking at 70, you like, I got more years behind me than ahead of me. Let
True
me just
story.
live my best
Yeah.
years from 70
And
on.
I'm
Yeah.
going to.
And if that don't include your miserable ass who makes
Yeah.
me miserable,
But
then
here's
get
my
out.
thing.
Let me
Here's
not
my
have
thing.
any
Let me
regrets
not
when I
have
leave
nothing.
this
Here's my
house.
thing.
Yeah.
Give me my money. This is what I'm about to do. Like, at this point, I feel like we should have an understanding. You don't like my ass. I don't like your ass. But it's going to cost you more money. So why don't you just pay for me and my boyfriend?
No. Who the hell gonna do that? See, you talking nonsense. Who gonna do that?
I feel like this is a thing.
I mean, that sounds perfect. Like in the
I feel like that's a thing.
that sounds great in the perfect world. But like, what man's gonna be like, cool? Let me break
Because
up
he
with
got
my
his
boyfriend.
girlfriend.
He said,
He
men,
got plethoras.
men are driven by
Plethoras.
ego. Men are driven by
Okay,
ego.
me and my
This is
girlfriend.
never.
You ain't got to know that it's my boyfriend.
Oh my
Told you,
god.
bitch got a girlfriend. She was trying to play like, girl, no, she was pushing up on me.
I was
No,
talking
you got a
about
girlfriend.
female friend, like me and my girl.
So you just ain't gonna get no dick though?
Shut up.
You are completely missing my point. Like I said, I'm going to say, but I'm gonna have Julio on the
You think he's
side.
gonna throw money at you when they gonna check that? And he got a whole girlfriend?
Yes.
No, he's not. What
You
man's
think
gonna do
Amazon
that?
got time for that shit?
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yes, I think he
This
has
can
time.
work. This
They
can work.
they split and were so.
men be on that shit. Yes, I think he has time. Because if he don't have time, guess what? He got the money to hire somebody who do got time to follow your ass around everywhere.
They had such nice things to say about one another once they split. Like if I pay somebody,
Nigga,
300
you give me
million.
300 something.
I'm talking about him. I'm talking about him. Like both of them
Because
together.
he like, thank you for only taking 300 billion instead of all 900 and something billion that I had to give.
And
Thank
putting
you.
your name on the.
She is just the nicest person, you know. I just wouldn't want to go through this with anybody else. Hell yeah, I'm just saying. I
I
got
don't
nothing
care
but
how much-
nice things to say.
I don't care how much money I have. If I had to give somebody $300 billion,
billion.
you know who?
Listen,
I'm gonna be as angry and
No, you
as
ain't.
bitter as you know who.
no, you ain't.
Like
No,
for
you
10
ain't.
years plus.
No, you
Okay.
ain't.
Like-
Not when you
Every-
not when you sitting on double, maybe triple that what you just gave away. No,
I'm
you're
gonna
not.
still be like, shit, I
And-
could have had more.
And you gonna be like, hey, let me get that shit back like next year.
How long were they married?
A long,
A long time.
Like she was there for like the beginning, I think,
Yeah.
of him like starting like she deserved every fucking dime.
She was in the gym with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
She deserved every
She
dime.
deserved that.
Like that was just as much her company as it was his. Like
She was with him from start. Like I said, she was in the gym.
yeah.
She was in the gym. But hell, you don't have nothing but nice things to say too when I'm looking at 300 billion, or if I'm giving 300 billion away and I still got 9 in it's left.
The
Like,
number was just so
She ain't
astronomical.
too. I'm reading this. Hold on.
The number was just
It
so
don't even matter.
astronomical.
the total was billions.
It was
137 billion.
Yeah. But I'm sitting on 6 though. So cool. Go on and take this. Go on and take this little 100-some billion.
Can y'all
Enjoy
imagine?
your life.
Pause for the cause. Can y'all imagine having that amount of money?
No.
No.
Do y'all
Well,
know
girl,
the
you
amount
on
of
vacation
Do you know the
again.
I would live
Vaca-
on
I would live on
vacation.
vacation,
I'm
right.
living on vacation. My life is vacation at this
like
point.
I literally travel for a living.
Yes.
I would be every morning. Aloha! It's another
We're from
day.
Bora Bora.
It's another day in
Girl.
paradise.
I would literally hit every single country. Like that would be my mission. Like I'm going to hit every country in the world. Like,
So
and I'm taking my homies with me.
Look,
yeah.
Like,
this month I am.
for real.
Next month we are.
Yeah.
Cause listen, cause if I ever find a job that like allows me to like travel, like and work, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like
Yeah.
actually go, like I would love to. Okay, so funny story. So I signed up to like teach English like in different countries, and the only thing that like made me pause was it's like a $2,500 class, and I was just like, I'm on unemployment. So I just didn't do it. But I'm really thinking about it because like when I went to Bali, like everybody who I met, like there were so many people who were like, oh yeah, I'm here for 6 months. You know, we're teaching English in a village, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm going to wherever. I'll be in Thailand next month. I was just like, I could do this. I know English.
I know English.
I could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to fucking travel. And
Yeah, absolutely.
And get paid for it.
Absolutely.
or just have $137 billion and just fucking travel.
Listen, I don't even know if you purposely tried that you could spend that in a lifetime. Like, do you realize how much money that is?
That's what I'm saying.
No, all types of charity.
It's on some like old Scrooge McDuck, like swimming in gold coins type
Yes.
shit. Like
Yes.
Yes, my life would be vacation.
too.
Like, I would still own some shit, but I would just own it just to own it because I wouldn't be there.
Yeah, I mean, I would own properties and shit, and like the only
I
thing
would own shit to give to my kids.
to
when
get
I was
that's
gone.
that's what you're doing.
Yes.
Like you are investing in the future for other people because you're good.
I would be waking up like how we wake up, be like, do I feel like going to Easton today? I'd be waking up like, I feel like going to Dubai or Bora Bora today.
Yeah,
What you
For
feel
real,
like?
Yeah.
for real.
What you feel like going?
Yeah. Bora Bora.
Like I would
on
be
my
sending
vision
text
board.
messages to y'all like, don't even pack a bag.
Yeah, just come out.
Just go to the airport.
Like, girl,
All
what
your
you
shit's
doing?
been taken care of.
What you
Just
doing
go to the
tomorrow?
airport.
What you
Okay.
doing tomorrow?
I mean, shit. The day I get 137 billion, shit, I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna even pay Navient. Okay, like
Fuck them, I ain't paying
They still gonna get this good $30.
Yeah, ain't got it, because guess what? I ain't working.
oh my
Yes.
god.
There it is. They sent me, speaking of them, go send me an email talking about your something is up, and if you don't send us more documentation, you will owe $542 a month. I said,
Girl,
here go these little pay stubs.
girl, that's the
Yeah,
one good
Don't
thing that
take
came.
that.
That's the one good thing that came out of this little 4 months because that little $727 payment came through, and I was like, I got something.
I got it. Full house bitches.
Guess what?
Bam.
Guess what? Like,
Niggas in the house like, domino, bitch. Ma'am, so we're gonna check back in 6 months when the unemployment runs out and let me find out what you got to do. So I'm coming back for that.
Yeah.
You know, she's resilient. She ain't never going away. She's
No.
coming right back.
okay, I was like, good God Almighty.
She gonna hit you in 2 months like, right back, ain't you? Thought you had me, but
Girl.
for that ass.
skip, reverse, uno, bitch, uno.
Out. Out.
Draw 4.
I'd be like, what
Thought
happened?
you had me. Girl, I ain't new to this. True to this, baby. Check my records.
I'm sorry.
I ain't gonna play with you. I quit school because of this.
Sally Mae gonna hit you with that real quick. Quick talk. 10 toes down, ain't never fold. True to the game, baby. Crib don't trip.
Oh my gosh, shut up.
But wait a minute, seven?
That's what they tried to make me pay.
Girl.
That's what they tried to make me pay. Yeah.
Listen, Sally Mae like Trump. I don't give a
They
fuck.
really don't. They really don't. They really
Like the
don't.
numbers that they be
But I
calling.
told you how to be. Did I tell you how to be talking to me when I call like a day late?
So when you want to make this payment?
No. They be like, I'll call to make my payment. Like, so you're making that delinquent payment? I'm like, bitch, it's not even 24 hours. It's not business to me.
It's not delinquent.
Don't you?
Delinquent is past 30 days.
Exactly. No, they're like, it's you're making your delinquent payment 3 times in one. I was like, my payment was due yesterday. Yesterday. Not even 24 hours.
It ain't been 24, it's been 12.
And I'm calling you. So
Yeah.
how we delinquent?
My thing is when they call and be like, so you want to take care of this $1,264 bit?
And 32 cents.
Bro,
No.
1,200. They hit me with the.
32,000.
We see this is ma'am, I have to ask because I started laughing. Ma'am, I have to ask.
Because they doing some bullshit when they was asking us why they said I have to ask.
Like I called you for a payment arrangement, and then you talking about you forced to ask, can I pay this $27,000 loan today? Like
No.
no,
And even
No, I
if I
cannot.
could, I still ain't.
no, I cannot.
Even if I had 27,000 sitting right here in cash,
You
No.
still gonna get these payments.
Shit. Yes, I would. If I had the money, take it.
you a lie.
Take it all.
If I got
If I have
27,000
137 billion,
yeah, you get
take that.
How you want it? You want it cash. You
I-
want a check.
I will
You
be
want
so
money
goddamn
order.
petty. Like I need ones. All
one.
I'm gonna pay that shit in coins.
They already said
I
that she
ain't
pays
got
her
time
off,
for
she's paying it off in pennies.
I
They already said
ain't
she's
got-
taking a bag of
Who's
pennies.
carrying it?
The bank, I'ma have them ship that shit or something. I don't know, but I am paying in change. Like that is my plan. That is
That's
my
your
goal.
goal.
I
Vision
also
board.
like. I really thought about like taking a year and like moving back home and really kind of doing like what some of like the white kids do. You
That's
know,
what they do. Let me tell you, that's my plan
I thought about
for
it.
my kids.
I thought about it.
Oh, I must say you can't do
No,
that.
girl,
I
no.
can't do
Yeah.
that.
I started a whole new generation out here. I
Yeah,
can't
no,
go back
I
home.
I
I'm
thought
talking for my like when he's going to
Yes.
college. You know, I'm gonna let him make his decision, but that offer will be on the table when you graduate college. You come home. You were hopefully we ain't dealing with no student loans, but whatever
Yeah.
debts that you accrue in college,
Right.
you come home for 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
You pay off them debts and save up enough money that
Yeah.
you put a down payment for your own home.
Yeah.
yeah.
We ain't even going out here and doing apartments. When you leave my house,
You
you
come
go and
home.
buy your own shit.
Yeah.
Buy your own
My
shit.
life, yes.
And make it very affordable. So even if you got into some, you know, a career rut where money ain't coming,
Yeah,
it's still
yeah.
affordable. I'm talking
Yeah.
about them $300 and $400 mortgage payments.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought about it like recently and
Hold this one right because it's just
Right there on top.
mm, thank you, boo. And that's exactly what I said about moving back home. I can't. It ain't worth it.
You just heard her talking about she wasn't gonna let her mama move in when she
Yeah,
got
so I
kids, but
was
she
so
gonna move back
confused by this
home.
conversation.
It ain't it, like the money sounds good, like to be able to like live home.
But you would be so much happier in 5 years.
First off, it ain't gonna take 5 years. Like if I like moved home, I'd be able to knock it out in a year. Like that's where all my
a year?
all my money would just go toward
That's just 12 months. That's
almost
just
A year? I would be
Yeah.
in there like
Um,
somewhere.
like all my money
I
would
would
just
be
go
in there.
toward like student loans
Yeah.
essentially. I would go to very minimal.
But you would need like another 6 months to then like get your savings back.
Yeah.
You're talking about a year and a half, maybe 2, depending on whatever your goal was for that sit back.
yeah,
You know how
that
fast?
sounds
Just think of how fast these few months have been that you've been off work. You would be halfway there at this point if you would
So-
move back home.
So me and my mom are going on this cruise in 2 weeks, and I have mixed emotions. I'm like really excited because I'm like, yes, we're going on the cruise. My mom, 40 years ago, got her passport and said she was going to the Bahamas, right? And then like she just never left the country. She never went anywhere. Passport expired. So here we are, come full
40
circle,
years.
and we're going to the Bahamas. So I'm super excited.
Yeah.
However, I know that lady. So I don't know what's gonna happen on this cruise. I might be driven to smoke, like cigarettes. I don't know.
You're not gonna smoke
I don't know.
cigarettes.
I don't know. She
How
might.
will talk about you?
I mean, I'll talk about me too.
will
Like,
talk about
like if
you.
my hair smells like cigarette smokes, it would be terrible. But my mom stresses me out that much though. So I have anxiety about this trip, and it's only a 2-day cruise. I booked the shortest cruise just in case she hates it.
You have to hear the Florida story.
We're not gonna talk about that.
This is why she has anxiety.
But,
I get it, but I think you're on the ball though.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. I really hope so.
I think so.
And
If
not,
not,
ass poolside and go do your thing.
I mean, that's why I was like, it's 2 days. She'll be alright.
Yeah.
It's 2 days. But the amount of anxiety that I've had for this cruise was confirmation. I can't go back home. I ain't gonna survive.
You would. Though.
I would not. You put. First off, my mom would kill me because I get on my mom's
The
nerves
things that you
just
have.
not as much as she gets on my nerves. Like,
I'm gonna bring you back to reality real quick. Hold on, let me jog you back to reality real quick. The things that you have told me that you are willing to do if somebody offered to pay off them student loans, and you gonna say I cannot move back home for 12 months to pay off them student loans.
yeah.
I don't believe you.
Stand by that.
B had said some shit, but I was like, you are
Sure, if my stomach was flat, I'm gonna tell you that. Look, if my stomach were
listen to
flat,
this.
or my back did not have this roll on it, I only need one side to be flat. Okay,
One
or
the
the other.
because the show won't go from that side or the other. Either you get the front.
You either
or
gonna
the
get
back.
the front or the back. If one of these sides was flat, my ass would be beating up that highway every weekend, shaking something strange for a whole
location.
lot of
You hear this,
change.
Keisha? You hear this?
Okay.
I cannot.
But she can't move back home for 12 months. I've also heard how she would entertain the likes of certain types of gentlemen that we know she would not fuck with if they offered to pay these loans. She would fuck with a hardcore Somalian guy.
Ooh. Did you really?
I did not.
Yes, she did.
I did not say what she did. No.
She might as well have said it because everybody else
I mean,
that we ran into situations, she'd be like, "No, I would if he said he was paying off these student loans." And I'm like, "Word, like you."
Oh my god.
who am I to turn down a blessing? Okay.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm
Like,
saying? So the dude that where was we at when he said that to us? The hardcore.
oh my
Somali
God.
dude.
At
Roses.
Rosie's. What?
We turned him down and he said, "Go with me tonight." And them student
Ew.
loans is no more.
Okay, so
I'm gonna need that
so
check first though.
So here's the thing, like you can't touch me.
Go through.
Like you can't touch me. Like I will go to like I'll entertain like an old gentleman. Like if you're bored, like and you just want somebody to talk to, absolutely, you can pay me to hang out with you, buddy.
Let me
Like
tell you something.
My butt cheeks are harder.
Be
So
lying.
bad for me.
Be lying because if he cut that check and left it blank and said fill in your payoff for your student loans, he gonna learn all them goddamn pole tricks on the spot.
but see,
She
here's
gonna
the
learn
thing.
them as
He
we
still
go.
can't touch me. I can't even wash dishes without gagging. Like if there's food floating in it, I can't food. Mm-mm. I have a weak stomach. I got a weak
B
stomach.
gonna tip this up right here. Get to it.
Players Club, bitch.
I cannot.
It's not that.
You
I
know what
won't.
she got to get what she wants.
I can't.
Oh,
Sweet Jesus.
However, mine is 55,000. So
Mm-hmm.
I know somebody that's over $100,000, and I was just like,
You know 2 of us.
yeah.
PhD.
No, masters.
And they said
So-
you want to go get a master's. You know what I mean?
I'm not going back. The next time y'all catch me in school, we'll be at a PTA meeting. I'm done. I ain't going back. I'm done.
I get it.
Somebody
Again,
asked,
the
like-
things that she has told me she will do, and I'm like, you can't go home for 12 months.
It's just.
It
I
is
mean,
12. Like I get your plight, right? Like, because there is never like any situation. But if I had an opportunity to go back home, because financially because that will put you in a whole nother level.
But see, here's the thing, like, me going back home to live with my mom, it's not worth it. It's not worth the student loan debt that I would ultimately like pay off.
What do you
Like
think is gonna happen?
we will argue non
You ain't even gonna be there.
We will argue non
You ain't even gonna be there.
stop. Like
And you 30-something years old.
like no thank you. I get on my mom's nerves, she be getting on my nerves. Like now it works great. Like we had like a
You can argue and go home.
yeah, like I could be like you doing too much. It's time for you to go. Say bye to Lily. We'll see you later. Or she'd be like, I ain't got time for this shit. I'm leaving. You ain't the boss of me. And be like, that's right. Like
Yeah, that's right. That's why you go to your house where you the boss of that shit over there. You ain't the boss. They be having petty ass arguments. You ain't the boss of me. You ain't the boss of me either.
they really do that.
I already know how that sounds because these mom ain't one of them like, oh my god, bitch, who the fuck you talking to? She ain't one of them. She'll say some petty stuff like that. You ain't the boss of me. I can go home. Well, go home then. You ain't the boss of me either. And you ain't the, guess what? You ain't the boss of Lily. That's the type of arguments that they have.
You did not say that.
I did not. She's making that up, but there's a great
I bet
possibility.
you that. Listen, you heard it's a great possibility. And the next time you ain't walking Lily. That's the arguments that they have. You can't do that for 12 months.
I can't though. We like listen, me and my mom, we are hot mess. We
Her
are
mom probably say something again, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette in your house. That's probably like the arguments that they have. Like,
I'd be like, you better not like that shit up in here.
and they go crazy. I can't believe you just said that. Like, that's the arguments that they have. You would jerk those meat in your grand doggy?
And your
For a
granddaughter.
No, I can't believe you said that.
So wait a minute, when she babysits,
I already told my mom that she's gonna have to quit smoking. I already told her.
no, when she don't
Oh.
sit. I'm sorry, let me clarify.
She has to sit on the patio. To smoke her, yeah.
Yeah,
But like,
I'm with that.
yeah,
I'm
but
with
my
that.
mom's cool with that though. Like she legit, like
Yeah.
she doesn't
Okay.
smoke in my house. Like won't have no issues.
That's
like with
good.
none of that. Like the only thing,
That's
like,
probably the biggest issue she would have to deal with going back home is the cigarette smoke.
like the
And
only.
I'm even
That
willing
is
to
so
bet
hard.
that her mom would be like, if Dee went to her mom and said, "This
No,
is
she
what I'm
wouldn't.
trying to do," I guarantee you she would bend the rules a little bit. Like, you know what? I'm a try to. I will change it up a little bit.
No, she's not. No, she's not. But
Because, geez,
my mom's
you
stuck in
ain't
her
the boss
ways.
of her house.
Yeah, I ain't the boss over there. I don't run that. But
If
like
if
my
she
mom.
say me and Lily gonna live here, she gonna be like, "Oh, well, I don't want to smoke it for my Lily. I don't want to smoke it for my granddaughter."
Which, by the way, Lily is such a star because I keep seeing the commercial and I'm like, that's Lily.
It's been showing up on Hulu like nonstop.
Yeah,
yes,
like,
yeah.
nonstop. I was like,
That's a bad pill right there.
I see you, girl.
Kiki asked about you the other day. She
Oh,
called Lily something else, so I was like, confused who she was asking about. She was like, you know, with the dog Lulu or something.
Is she at the L right now?
I was like,
most people call her like Lola, and I'm like,
it might have been something to that effect, and I was just like,
Key Lolo. Okay.
I was
Oh my
like,
God.
Lily.
oh my god. I get. So speaking of Lily, one of my friends gave me like grooming kit, like a clipper set.
I seen that.
for
Why you fucking her frames up though?
So the clippers worked great. That shit was easy. Lily sat there. She let me do it. Boom. So then it came to like her face, and I can't really use the clippers, so I tried to use like these little like thinning out shears or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, child, honey, it's levels to that shit. And she knew that I jacked up her
Butchered that
baby.
Oh.
Her bangs literally have levels. Like when the hair is drooped down, it's like a blunt cut here, a blunt cut there, a blunt cut there. Like it's like 4 levels, and I don't know what happened. Like I tried to do it the way they do at the hair shop. You know, I brought the hair up in between my fingers, and I was like, clip, clip, clip. And then I let it fall, and she was like, boop, boop, boop. I was like, it looks like a staircase.
And
Like,
Lily knew it.
listen, she
She
couldn't
felt
see them.
them stairs hitting forehead. Like
She
1,
couldn't
2,
see
3.
them, but little baby knew something wasn't right. She mugged the shit out of me. I sat her on the couch to take a picture. And first off, like where her eyes used to be, like they still like twitch and move, like so I can tell like when she like blinks or something. It's the weirdest thing.
She gave you the no blink.
That shit like squeezed real tight, and she held it, and then they flinched. I was like, bitch, did you just roll your eyes? Did you just roll your non-existent eyes at me? Like I was
Just roll your lids.
listen, I was like, you're rude. I tried. You're rude, and I tried. Like,
She was
So
like, no,
disrespectful.
you're rude and you try.
Exactly. Is she a Pekingese? What is she?
she's a Maltese.
Maltese.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. I've learned so many dogs working
Yeah,
in
I bet
Georgia.
you
I bet you have. Because you guys are right across the street from All About the Dogs, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, Lily used to go there.
Yes.
Yep. They
We
have some of the cutest little
Oh,
stuff.
and the little dog store that's like by Thurman's.
Is that the Pet People that's
Yeah.
over there?
Not the Pet People. It's
Okay.
a different one, but they lost their lease, so they won't be there.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I'm shorter, like, relocating somewhere else in the area. Like,
They just said we lost our lease.
damn.
I really wish I was a pet person like that. I'm just not.
When I do get a dog, I've decided I'm going to name him Professor X, though.
You are gonna get a dog?
One of my children
Oh.
no way because my children don't like dogs. So.
Yeah, whatever I get just has to be hyperallergenic. I went over to a friend's
I
house.
want to hear the story.
I went,
tell it.
I went over to a friend's house, and I was just not prepared for the amount of dog hair that was present. And I wore black leggings.
That was a question that I asked. I was like, so, because someone was talking about one of their dogs. I was like, does that dog? Oh, my coworker has a Sharpie or a Sharpei.
A Sharpei, yeah. Are those like
That's
little
right.
wrinkly dogs?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And they bring him to the salon
Mhm.
sometimes. His name is Sharpie.
Oh, that's
And
cute.
yes, I love
Sharpie
Sharpie.
to Sharpei.
And
That's so
I was
cute.
like, does Sharpie shed? And she was like, oh yes. And I was like, but he doesn't have any.
But that's
So-
that short hair that
Yeah,
like
it's
just
the
falls.
short hair.
So the dogs that are hypoallergenic, if you will, they
Okay.
have hair as opposed to fur. So
Okay.
it's something about like there's less dander and the hair is like embedded more so as like hair follicles
Mhm,
are,
mhm.
as opposed to it being like fur that has
Yeah.
like different layers.
They
that,
still
like,
lose hair, it's just not as much.
Yeah.
Like, nearly as much. Because, like, I've never seen hair around these places.
No,
Yeah.
like, and my furniture's red and Lily's white, so like my
It would
furniture,
show.
like,
Right.
so like the only time that like she really sheds is like if I'm brushing her hair, like it comes out in the brush, and like she tends to shed more in the brush during like the winter
I was
than
gonna
she
say,
does.
And you know, this one could probably brush
Yeah.
her hair daily.
I
Like,
do, because well, if her hair is long,
Yeah.
I do because it can get matted
Okay.
like easily. But girl, listen.
She said it's because they could get matted. She be in there playing Barbie doll with Lily, which is why Lily feel like she needs to show her thug a little more every now and then. Because Dee be in there playing
I definitely put a French braid in
braids
Lily's hair.
and bows with Lily, and Lily be like, bitch, do you know who I am?
Lily definitely has hair barrettes.
I told you.
She has Juicy Couture hair barrettes that match her Juicy Couture onesie.
She has not realized that Lily is a thug, and Lily been trying to tell her all her life.
I'm so mad that she has way more stuff than I do.
Lily has a full blown wardrobe.
And how many bikinis?
2.
Now. Because she got rid of some.
I did.
Yeah.
Marie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she downsized.
For my dog that's never been to a swimming pool has 2 bikinis. Oh my god. Anywho,
And she thinks she ain't gonna move her mama in when she have a baby.
that's not.
I can't look, like I said, mark this date and time down.
April 13th.
I can't wait to bring it back up.
April 13th.
I'm gonna be like the camel. D. Guess what today is?
Yes, what day it is. You're stupid.
Ooh, I can't wait. I cannot wait to play this back. Like, oh no, it's just on record. It's recorded on the internet.
Oh my god.
Who
No.
told you that? The internet.
It's on the internet, so
It's
that's
on the
for sure.
internet.
Must be true.
No, but I was definitely just not prepared for the amount of hair that her dog shed, and like it's a
What
big,
type of dog?
it's a golden retriever, and I
That's
wore
gonna be a no.
and I wore black leggings and I had on black socks,
It's gonna be a no.
and it was like I
Yeah.
left covered in fur.
It's
Listen,
gonna be a no.
I've been to houses with that one. His friends.
That's so good. Yeah.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
I have literally stood in the middle of the You want to sit?
Thank you. You want a glass of water?
Mm-mm.
got some.
Stomach growling. It sounds like your stomach is growling.
No.
Ate some bad sushi earlier. You use the bathroom? Nope.
And then she be wondering where Ishmael gets this shit from, though, because Ishmael's just like her.
Can't do it. And left doing this the whole ride home.
Oh shit!
Can you so?
So like 2 years ago, I went to these folks' house, right? And it's like I knew them, but I didn't really know them like that. Like I knew them well, but I'd never been to their home. Well, come to find out, they had a shit ton of animals. There was like a cat, and then there were like 4 or 5 dogs, right?
As soon as you say cat, I'll be like,
I know. So I went over there with
So what am I eating here?
No.
So that was the thing. So like, so I went for dinner. Like the purpose of me going to the house was for dinner. So I was caught off guard. So I felt like I almost had to eat. I ate dinner at their house
You threw up when you got home.
in the car.
See?
So but I made myself throw up. So first off, we're eating dinner, and all the animals were doing their thing, and then the cat came
Shut the fuck up.
and sat on the table
I'm not eating it.
while we were eating dinner. The
And I would
cat
have told you why. Like, I cannot. I cannot.
Can you?
I would have used some privilege. Like, what do you want me to do, Billy? What do you?
So
Aaron.
Not doing it. Okay. Like, can't do it.
So I get in my car,
She makes herself throw up.
and I had a Target bag. Of course, it was Target because I'm addicted to Target.
Of course.
I had a Target bag in my car. So I drove off of their street, out of like a residential neighborhood. I drove off of their street, and I parked on another street. And I rolled down my windows. And
She set the mood, lit a
and
candle.
I vomited in the bag. I was like, I have to get it up. I was like,
Yes.
if I don't get it up, I'm going to know that I'm coughing up a hairball. So I was like, it has to come up.
That be me.
I was like,
If I'm in the vicinity in this pet hair, I feel like I have hair loss for the rest of the day.
Well, no, I told
Like,
you guys
yeah.
how Jasmine took us to that one lady's house for the Mary Kay thing, and just this fat, furry cat just, I was like,
Mm.
oh, that's okay.
I don't mind a cat if the house is clean and it doesn't smell like cat piss, and
How does it not? I've never seen
It-
anybody
it
with
was.
a cat.
It
with
did
a-
not
with a hat
smell.
with a cat.
It did
That-
not smell.
That was
Yeah,
just picture
I would
perfect
not
clean,
have
it did not
known
smell.
had I not seen Mr. Fluffy or whatever his name was. Would not have known. However, when she said, I'm always eating cat hair, I was like,
Who says that?
somebody who's always eating cat hair.
That bitch eats Skyline chili. That
I've
All-
never had Skyline.
Listen,
Because it's awful.
because
it's
it's
terrible.
awful.
It's terrible.
like I said, that reminds me of somebody with 20 pets in their home. That's the only people that eat Skyline.
They tried to feed us Skyline in high school at like an award ceremony,
The hot dogs
And I
are
was
white.
and I was so.
I mean, like white. Like they didn't have the pink texture.
Nah,
to it.
she ain't
What?
bullshitting. I'm just like, how y'all putting spaghetti noodles and fucking hot dogs
Diarrhea.
and this
Diarrhea.
shit on top?
Because it looks like shit. It looks like diarrhea.
I mean, the commercials don't get.
They tried to give it to us at an award ceremony,
Yeah.
and I lit their asses up in the 12th
I know
grade.
you did.
How dare you
I know.
try
you did.
to award me for my great behavior with this nonsense, this trash, this garbage?
That's, this,
I'm not eating this.
this looks like a single female with 20 cats. That's what this looks like.
I've never had it. The commercials don't appeal
It's
to
like
me.
that.
The smell
it's-
is not appealing.
It
When did
look-
you have it?
they-
When were you
they-
around Skyline Chili?
A work lunch.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
I felt
'cause
like her.
'cause people
How
stay trying-
fucking dare you?
Yeah, people stay
Disrespectful.
getting that shit for like
I
events.
have
Like,
never.
It's cheap.
I have had Jet's Pizza,
it's spaghetti.
Donato's Pizza.
Spaghetti noodles and diarrhea.
It's spaghetti noodles, a bowel movement, and cheese.
Where the fuck do y'all work? I mean, you got one from school, but what?
I mean,
We'll
I
talk
was
about
not
that.
surprised if this was the lunch.
But like a
Let's
lot
say
of
that.
people like it. That's the scary
Plenty
part.
of people eat it.
They
Like,
love that
they
shit.
still have franchises all over the place.
They love that shit.
the
It's
smell alone,
disgusting.
I was like, no.
the look alone, I was like, how dare you?
I smelled it before I even seen it, and then seen it was like picked up the chili, and I was like, no.
I just
First of all, whose chili is this? Because this is not chili.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like chili don't pour. Like you don't take chili and be like, like that's
real. For real.
Chili you scoop and place in
Right.
the bowl. Whose chili is this? Who's
It's like X-Lax,
Oh.
the effects
Yeah,
from
nothing.
X-Lax.
Yeah.
no? You can pour
With
that
cheese
chili,
on top. With cheese
You
on
can
top.
pour that chili like
And then
this.
there's so much cheese. They put like a heap of cheese on top of it. Like, cheese fixes everything. Here you go.
The hot dogs had no color. They weren't even
And now
pink,
that's scary.
which
that's
I wasn't going to eat
scary.
anyway because it was
Right,
pork.
right.
But they were pork hot dogs with no color. No.
That's
No.
like them Save-A-Lot. That's some Save-A-Lot hot
That,
dogs.
it was hot dogs.
No. Yeah. That's scary.
People love it though.
People love that shit.
I never had
And there's
it.
another
Oh,
chili
no.
place that's like down near like Cincinnati.
5-star.
I don't
It
know.
might be
5-star
5-star.
People love that shit too.
I thought
But
that's where Skyline came from. Was Cincinnati?
I have no idea. I don't know.
No, maybe,
I mean-
I don't know. I mean, again.
I just know.
maybe
I just
made
know
that
people.
up.
I just know people talk about Skyline, and when I tell them how awful the shit looks, they're like, "Oh,
Maybe
well, have
offended. Like,
not only are they offended, they be like, "Oh, well, have you had the places down in Cincinnati?" No, like no. Simple as that. No.
no.
Mm-mm. I have no desire.
What is the place? Skyline. There's not any in Columbus anymore, is there?
Yes,
There's
they're all
one on
over.
East Cross Street right now.
There's one in Gahanna
It's
across the
been
street
there
from my
since I
house
was
right
in
now.
Elementary, and it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
What?
The one by my house be having like a lawn.
Ain't there
Like,
one on 256?
I don't know.
I just-
Probably.
I just know where they're at because I be like,
Pickerington, Reynoldsburg, and Gahanna.
yeah. I just know that they exist because when I see them, I'll be like, people still eat that shit? How is that still in business? That's what I be thinking when I see it.
Gold Star Chili.
That's
Gold
what it is.
Star
That's what it
chili.
is. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is.
Pull that name up real quick. See about that.
Yes.
Someone that's
Skyline is from Cincinnati.
in Cincinnati. So where's Gold Star from?
It
then?
is Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
too,
So
but,
Cincinnati started this shit.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
you shouldn't trust things from Cincinnati.
All right, so I want to talk about something real quick before we
Mhm.
Peace out.
close out. Yeah.
Yes, Gold Star is also Cincinnati.
So Cincinnati started this whole thing.
Nonsense.
Nasty ass. Okay, I don't remember my password. That's it.
No.
Yes. The clock don't lie.
I think it did.
No, it has not. There's no way. There's no way.
Carry on.
Okay. So, someone sent me a meme. It is a family member of mine who was like, "Ain't this deep?" And I read it and was like, "Damn, that really is." And I'm going to read the book. So I'm going to order the book. I'll probably order it tonight, actually.
What's
Since I'm
the book?
thinking about it. The book is don't make me make something up. Don't make me make it up. Hold on. The book is called One, No One, and 100,000 by Luigi somebody Pirandello. I think it's looks like
That's a
Pirandello.
long title.
One, No One, and 100,000 is the title of the book by Luigi. He is an Italian writer, and this is the I won't call it an excerpt, but just a review of the book that they read. And the title of it is "A Different Version of You Exists in the Minds of Everyone Who Knows You." And they go further to say, "I read a book that blew my mind. The main character goes crazy when he realizes no one really knows him. The gist is that the person you think of as yourself exists only for you,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't really know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Every person you meet has a relationship with or make eye contact on the street with creates a version of you. So whoever
Mhm.
you meet or even make eye contact creates a version of you in their own mind."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It says you're not the same person to your mom, your dad, your siblings. than you are to your coworkers, your neighbors, or friends.
Mhm.
There are 1,000 different versions of yourself out there in people's minds. And this is the part where you got hung up. A you exists in each version,
Mhm.
and yet your you,
Mhm.
yourself,
Mhm.
isn't really a someone at all.
You lost me that last part.
That's
I was following all of
is
it.
it really a someone is that is kind of confusing.
Yeah, it's not even that whole sentence. It's the you yourself.
Yeah.
You yourself isn't really a someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's that portion that's like, huh?
Yeah.
So I am going to read the book, and
It's
I already
$11.95 on Amazon.
yeah, I already have it in my
$9.99.
I have it in my cart, and I have a spook by the back door, behind the back door, something like that. I'm also going to read that, and there's also a Sacred Woman something title. I have all three in there, so I'm going to go ahead and order all 3.
Okay.
I'm behind on my books because just been busy, just behind on my readings. But I am going to order all 3 of those, and top of my list of those are this particular book, because and to be honest, when I read it, I was like, damn, that's true.
Mhm.
You know, because I've definitely been in situations where I think I am this certain person, or I give off this certain persona, right?
Mhm.
And then someone will be like, when I see, you know, I've been given certain compliments, and I'm like, you know, while it made me feel good, I'm like, damn, that's what you see?
Yeah, thank you.
And then there's also been times where I get feedback where I'm like, damn, that's what you think of me? Like,
Right.
I didn't even know I was putting that out there. Like, that's so far from who I am, or who at least I think I am,
Right.
that like, how did you even come to that? So I do think there's some truth in that meme. I do think that everyone, like, I feel like my version of me is different from even what she thinks.
Mhm.
And it could be just the difference of the nature of our relationships.
Yeah.
I feel like I do talk to D more than I probably talk to you, and it's
Yeah.
not because we're, you know, I'm just happen to be closer to her.
Right. Right.
So I do think that there are many different versions, because there's also been times, like I said, where I'm like, damn, you supposed to know me the best, and that's what you think?
Right.
Like, damn, like, surprisingly. So, and then there's, like I said, there's other times on the positive side that I'm like, well, I may not, more likely I didn't acknowledge it and say, damn, like, you know, precious, I just showed us a little bit. Like, I didn't do that, but when I went, you know, and thought about some of the compliments that I get, I'm like, damn, like, okay, I'm with that. You know, I'm glad that people are looking at that. And then there's been other times that people have had positive things to say, and I felt pressured, like, I don't want nobody thinking me that way,
Yeah.
because I don't feel like that's where I'm at. You know, in my mind, I ain't there, but then other people from outside see me and say, yeah, you are there.
Yeah.
And like, that's how I see
Yeah.
you. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm there, but other people see it. So there are, and that's even in with, like, because, you know, I'm not one of those that have friends all over the place type people.
Mhm.
My circle is pretty small for the most part. And so that's even people that I'm like on a daily contact with, or they see me regularly. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's different perspectives of me, even just within that small circle.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to read the book.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a interesting concept. I agree with it for the most part. So, in a communications course that I took like ages ago, it talked about how there's 6 versions of people present in every interaction that you have. So, like
Like with one person?
with 2 people. So, like me and
Okay.
you, for example. So,
No, that's what I mean. Like, if it's me and you, there's
Yeah.
6 different versions
So,
between me and you.
so there's the version of myself who I think I am.
Mhm.
There's the version of you who I think you are. And then there's the version of
Okay.
you.
So they're
of
talking
who
about
you-
between
of
the
who-
2 of us, there are
Yeah.
6. Okay.
of who you think I am. And then you also have those exact same 3 versions kind of
Mhm.
floating around in your head. So like in every interaction that you have, you know, you are altering yourself in some way,
Yeah.
even on a subconscious
Absolutely.
level, because you want to make a good impression.
Yeah.
You want people to identify with you and like you. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You want to be able to present yourself in a manner where you're building something and like you're gonna
Yeah.
come back because I'm cool and I'm awesome and
Yeah.
like you love me. So there's always those 6 dynamics that are always like at the present forefront in any interaction. So
Yeah.
I think that that's exactly what what this article is kind of talking about, what that book is talking about. There's all these different versions of who you are, who you think people are, like how people interpret you, and I think that that's completely accurate. where I got thrown and what makes absolutely zero sense to me, which is why I was like, English, please, is when it says at the end that you yourself are actually not a person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like,
Wait a
my mama
minute.
told me I am somebody. Okay, so
That's what I'm anxious to read in the book
Yeah.
because I went and read like some reviews or like
Mhm.
excerpts from the actual book, and what he was so the character is based or the book is based around the main character, and the storyline is about the main character being upset because he realizes no one really knows him. So I'm trying to figure out how does that correlate with you yourself is not a person at all.
Yeah.
Like where does that? So
Yeah.
that
maybe
that's
he's saying that like the person who he
thought
sees,
he was
doesn't exist with anybody else. It only exists
with him. Maybe
I have no
I
idea.
can see that.
That's the only way that this makes sense to me.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
can
really
see
curious of what this book says.
Yeah. I that to me, like when I first read it, I was like, that shit is so heavy because it's very true. It just felt real heavy to me because I feel like I've experienced it,
Mhm.
and maybe the me that I think that I am really don't exist because if no one else is seeing it, then how does it exist? If I'm the only one that sees myself, and to be honest, I think I'm a very complicated person. Like I don't feel like there is one version because certain people do get different
Oh
versions.
yeah.
You just think about like when people talk about like you meet the representative when you meet somebody
Absolutely.
new and
Absolutely.
love it, like in a relationship type
Yeah,
situation.
absolutely.
You definitely meet the representative and you find out who they truly are.
Yes.
That
Yes.
we all do it. That is
Yeah.
not a one person thing or
Yeah.
a one personality type thing.
Yeah.
We all do it. When
We
you
all
first
do
meet
it.
somebody,
Yeah.
you are the most loving, kind,
Yeah.
and generous, and
Yeah.
and then when you get comfortable, you like Trump. I don't give a fuck. Like, we all get there.
He's never given us.
Yeah. The difference with him is he just ain't never gave a fuck, and he never
Or is
will.
this the representative?
Yeah.
And we haven't even met the
he-
real him, which is 10 times worse.
He might be the one off that came into the
Jesus.
world like as himself.
Yes.
Like all y'all gonna feel it and see it. But so I don't know. Maybe that's why it hit me because I've experienced like where I've heard people say some things. And I'm like, damn, that's what you think, or I'm like, dang, for real, that's what you see. Like I don't even
Yeah.
see that in myself.
Yeah.
You know. So that's why I'm anxious to read it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be real curious because I
I
said, I was
can read it and
following.
pass it around.
Yeah.
I was following that whole little article, and then it got to that last little statement. I was like, well, goddamn, cocaine is a hell of a drug. 'Cause what in the world? Was he high when he wrote this? Like, I'm telling you, I was like so
Yeah.
confused. So I'm really curious to see kind of like how that
Yeah.
twist is. But I feel like too is gonna really kind of tie into like egos and
Yeah.
like, and I've read like a bunch of books like in the past about how your ego like changes like the perception of you. So I'm curious like if it's really gonna kind of pull into that.
And
So,
you think about just influences like when you add in like spirituality
for
and,
sure.
and then just maturity. Like
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
definitely
Yeah.
somebody different from
Absolutely.
you know.
Even just a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Like
Shit,
I was having
yesterday.
I was
Sure,
having
right.
this talk with Deanya, about her graduating and everything, like what she's gonna do, and I was like, I get it. You don't know what you want to do. I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know what I want to do till last year.
Yeah.
So like, I get it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely true.
Yeah. So I'm actually kind of excited. That's gonna be the top of my reads. There's so
We
many other
should-
books.
We should start a book club. Like
Each one of us reading something separate, or us all reading something?
no, like us all reading something like together, like and
Mhm.
just kind of like talking about
Maybe
it.
that's what we should start doing.
We should, yeah. I could totally.
I can get on board with that.
Well, if we're gonna start that, then you know where I'm starting, which
Ooh,
is
that's fun.
Michelle Obama's book.
I have it on my shelf.
It's upstairs right now.
Yeah,
I've read
so-
probably 10 pages.
So I've read the whole thing. I wished that I would have bought the hard copy. There's something about flipping through pages,
Yes,
like reading a book,
absolutely.
as opposed to like trying to read something like on your iPad.
I
It's
cannot
just not
do
the same.
I can't do the Kindle.
I like to be able to see where I'm at.
Yeah.
That
I like
too.
to put the
So I
bookmark
like the
in there.
smell of books. Like
too.
I like
They
going
do
to
smell good.
yeah, I like going to the library and like the smell of like old books. Like I don't know, it's weird. Like
Well, I'm not allowed to go to the library anymore, so.
What you do?
like you got banned from the library.
So Kira owes like $27 that I refuse to pay, and he's like, you can't read any more books. I was like, you won't get this book today, because I came here specifically
For this.
for this book. I got it, but
They
I
got
don't
me
think
like
they
that, and I
got
would have only paid that $4 they
Well, mine is like 20
You
cents.
see how I remember the total?
Oh my
I would
God.
only pay that $4.83
Y'all crazy.
because
I ain't paying it.
I won't be a slave to the system.
I ain't paying it.
You know what I'm
Because I
saying?
feel like
I'm
we
not
turn
allowed to
books
go to the
here.
library anymore.
I
thought
feel
Like about to tell some old ex-rated
Yeah, I thought you
story,
had like exposing yourself or
Right.
some shit or having sex at the library.
fine.
She was reading all the
Oh, no.
Terry McMillan novels and got, you know.
Excited.
Wait a minute, I'm so excited.
Used to.
I can't. All right,
Oh,
I am
God.
done fact checking for the night.
Yeah. So.
Alright.
Anyway,
Well.
I just thought it was an interesting concept, and I am anxious to read it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a list of books that are in my cart right now.
Yeah,
So we can start with that one.
Absolutely.
I think it's a plan.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright.
Well,
Well-
$9.99 at Barnes and Noble, which means I get $1 off of that. So,
Hey.
all right.
It's $9.99 at Barnes and Noble.
Yes.
And she gets $1 off.
Are you a member?
No,
You get
But
$1
she
off.
is, so yeah.
I order all my shit off of Amazon. Like every book that I've ordered has been off of Amazon.
I order everything off of Amazon.
Let's start there. Yeah,
Like I check Amazon first and then
go to other places.
I like actually leave my house to go to the store.
Yeah.
Like
I wish I could do that. I be wanting my stuff like, and I know Prime. I'm using Lauren's, but I want my
Because the
stuff.
thing is, like, I'll be like, because this is why I started just being like, just order it. Because I'll be like, okay, on Monday after work, I'm going to run there and grab it. And then Monday after work comes, and I'll be like, I don't feel like it today. So then I go home,
Yep.
and then it'd be Thursday, and I'll be like, had I just ordered it on Amazon?
I
that shit
already
would've
had.
been here
I
Well,
already.
here's the
Right.
thing. Like, I ordered all my stuff for the business. All that shit was sitting outside my door. And I was like, y'all just didn't give a fuck. Y'all, like, stuff was in the yard. I was like,
Oh,
y'all so
damn.
disrespectful.
yeah, you are.
They just dropped it off in the yard?
There was one package in the yard. The rest of the stuff was on the edge of the step. I'm like,
Okay, so listen, that burns my goddamn underwear.
biscuits. Mm-hmm.
Biscuits, it burns my underwear.
Okay.
Like
One
on
burns my biscuits. But
Fire.
okay. What had happened?
when I pull up and see that shit on the, I mean literally like this is the step in my package be like
Yes.
this. Why?
Why?
Why couldn't you take it from here to that corner right there? Where if
And
somebody
I
was
live
driving
on a corner.
if somebody is driving by they would not be able to see it. Versus you advertising it on the edge of my front step of my
And I
doorstep.
had like 5 packages.
What cracks me up?
and it was a big ass box at that. Like you were, I thought you were
Oh, no, I had
advertising it at this
I had a
moment.
lot of
like,
shit, and all of it was just.
What cracks me up is when I'll have like a big box and I'm in an apartment, so my porch isn't that big, but I have like a little welcome mat. And when I say little, it's little.
It's a welcome mat.
They will take that tiny ass welcome mat and try to disguise my big package.
No, you stop that.
So
right
it'll be
now.
like a little mat like this. And
It'd
it'll
be like this.
they be like, oh, you can't see it now. It's hidden. What? Like,
And you know it took them 10 minutes to do it. It's
Seriously.
like, this long as it
Because
took them to do
it
this,
be-
and they pause like,
it be propped up. It be propped up.
oh,
It'll be like, you
And at
can't
least
see
yours
me.
does that. Mine just be sticking my. I told you about my mailman be sticking the stuff like right here. It drops
she
into
has
my
one
house.
of the mailbox.
Oh.
I have an old house that drops into my house. Just
Yeah.
drop it in.
They literally take the time to balance it so it doesn't drop. Like, why? Just drop it
Stuff
in there.
all rains.
My
on.
mailman is the bomb. So let me listen. My mailman,
First of all,
so
he be checking her ass. Like,
he
you
does.
won't get shit out there so I can
So
return
here's,
the mail.
so here's the thing. So my mailman knows that I coupon, right? So if I don't go and check my little mailbox in the apartment complex, he will drive up to my house. He will put a note on my door, and he will be like, "I'm gonna throw away all your coupons if you don't go empty this mailbox." I'd be like,
Can I get a
Check.
regular?
"Oh,
Check.
Can I get a regular
I'd
mailman?
be like, I'm coming. I'm
Check,
coming."
check.
I just want a regular mailman. I look out there and be like, who's Paco? Who's Andre? Who is Jaleesa?
Oh,
Who
no,
are these
I-
multiple people?
You be getting other people's mail?
No,
No, that's
I have
a
that
different-
many
different
mail
mail
carriers.
Okay.
No, mine is
So
the
I have a note on my door that says, please push my mail into the box.
That's what it's designed for.
That's what it's designed
My
for.
mailman is the bomb. I like get him Christmas gifts every year. I don't know his name, but I get him Christmas gifts every year. Like he's the bomb.
Mine
made
stole
that
my
sound
Alice.
She
Mine
made
stole
that
your
sound
Alice and Ani bracelet.
BB
And so
like,
I had to come and check them.
this is about to expire. Mailman.
Merry
Christmas
Christmas.
Okay. Alright.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
It still works.
I
They
mean,
leaving notes
hey.
on your door like, hey, come get your shit, I'm throwing it away.
He cracks me
If
up.
I
He
had
like,
a regular one, I might.
They would have threw that shit away.
It was like, I'm gonna throw away your coupons if you don't come up to this out. I'll be over there in the morning. I'm
Right there, on my way.
It worked. It worked. All right, ladies.
Closing this out.
Yes, ma'am. It's been real.
All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and close it out. As always, you can reach us on what are we on? SoundCloud,
Everything.
YouTube, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook. Should we start a Snapchat? No.
No,
No.
I know.
No, and
I'm
no.
too old for that. Sorry.
However, when we come and do our reflexology, we will be recording that shit.
Oh yeah,
I'm with
please
it,
do.
I'm with it.
Oh, you guys gotta see the videos I posted.
We definitely will.
You've already posted them?
I posted some videos on
Where-
there.
You
where
gotta
they
text
posted
me
it?
and
What's
tell
your-
me to go on there.
What's your page?
Yeah, share your business
Yeah,
stuff.
share
your business
share
information.
details.
We'll share it after the podcast. We'll let you guys know soon.
We will
There's
research
certain,
that.
there's certain people that
Oh.
We'll get back to you on that.
We'll get back.
I'll write you back. For all you haters out there that be hating on what she doing.
I hate you. I hate you.
gonna
I
finish
hate
it.
you.
I was gonna try. I'm just not. I'm not gonna finish it. Anyway, you can reach us at yeah, get it. Show them that new job. son.
yes,
You better
the unemployed.
Go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
NAKD off script at gmail.com.
Oh my! Did she go
Professional.
It was that awkward?
Yes.
Alto in the house, bitches.
You're you're moving your left hand too much. Your left hand doesn't move. We appreciate that. Like, share, subscribe. We out of here. Peace.
Deuces.